Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really sucking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering, they're cheering, and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell! Give 'em a hand! And let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really sucking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town, of New York town.
Meet the Mets, Hey, everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut. And here we are back again, live and in color from New York City. I'm sorry, be on camera again. But the New York Mets, well, actually, there's been a big trade. Josh Hader of the Milwaukee Brewers just get traded to the Padres. Very shocked. But then again, I was watching High Heat just now, and it seems that there's been some talk about him moving over the last few days, I guess. And he's going to this in this really big deal. Let me read you the trade that just came over. It's a huge, humongous trade. I scratched my eye. Josh Hader for the close of the Padres, which I didn't think he was that good when the Mets faced the Padres a couple weeks ago. But we got, let's see here. Taylor Rogers, which, like I said, I wasn't too enamored with him. Denelson Lamet, Robert Gazer, and Estruid Ruiz. So they get a pretty damn good closer, but they said that Hader's been really struggling over the last few weeks, and they sort of were, I guess, tired of him. And they have another closer. They got Devon Williams, who's been the closer there, and he won the Rookie of the Year a few years ago for the Brewers. So they were ready to move on, I guess, a while ago, and they've been wanting to trade Hader for a long time anyway. So this trade was really not unexpected, but it maybe more this time than anything else. We'll get into the trade, but and other trades. There's been a lot of stuff popping up today. Joe Musgrove signed a 5-year contract. The Padres have been very active today. What else? And there's been some interesting stuff going on with the Mets. They're still in on Martinez and Christian Vasquez. They're still talking, kind of, sort of talking to the Cubs, but it seems like the Wilson Contreras and David Robinson deal might not happen. They may be still talking about Robertson for all I know, but it's not happening with I think with the with Wilson Contreras. They're just asking for too much. But keep an eye on that. We're going to be on for a while today. Just let everybody know. Let me just get into the chat. I want to ignore the chat. Hi, how are you? Hello, Sunny D. How you doing? Nicholas Troiano, Stephen Bunting. Hello, Andrew Pagnozzi. Hello, Prima Brady. How you doing all today? So I was on this morning. I did a little bit of a stream. I'm back. We're gonna be on for a while today. You know, everything's all hooked up, ready to go. Although my internet connection will have to be hooked up in a little bit, but everything's going well here today. But obviously, the Mets need pitching help. Which, by the way, I would mention that the Mets are interested in Andrew Chafin, which you think they would have signed him in the offseason. I know people are going to say that they should have done that in the offseason, signed him, but they wouldn't have to given up anything for him other than money. They're talking to the Tigers for some of the bullpen help there. Obviously, Michael Fulmer's still out there. I know they were talking about him a little bit, but I know they like Chafin a lot. He would be the main lefty on the Mets. He's really the only lefty on the Mets because really Joely Rodriguez has been a disaster. See the trades. Well, the Dodgers traded Garrett Clevenger to the Rays. Take a peek at him. Hello, Baruch. And of course, please like this video if you haven't already. That's not enough to trade. From Baruch. I like how the Mets are holding firm on not giving up too much. Well, you can't always give up prospects all the time. I mean, they have J.D. Davis they can use, although there's not a lot of value there. They have guys that interest a lot of teams. But to be honest with you, Don Smith interests a lot of teams, believe it or not. But we'll see. I mean, it's curious to see where this trading deadline goes because it's been very quiet the last day or so. Yesterday was very, very quiet. But obviously now it's business is picking up with Hader getting traded today. I guess the Brewers hated him. They hated him. No, they were talking about moving him for a long time, and now he's been moved. He goes to the Padres. The Padres significantly improved that bullpen. Um, I was not big on Rogers when the Mets went up against him. I was like, he could be beaten. If you get some really good left-handed batters against that guy, you could beat him pretty good. Hader's another story. He's tough. Although the Mets beat him last year, it was Jose Perez that did a home run off of him late in the game. So the Mets have beaten him in the past. It's important that we remember what the Padres do because the Mets, at some time down the road, might be facing them again. And they did not play well against the Padres, by the way. So just keep that in mind as thing with Hader could come back, and Hader, we might be seeing him later on in October. Don't just assume the Dodgers and the Braves are going to be there. Never know with the Padres. And this thing with Soto is still out there. Now, I would mention more news here about Shohei Ohtani. The Angels are not moving him. It seems they're not moving him. They kind of announced that today. So he has not been moved. So he's off the market. Right? See, I got pens. Let me show you something. This is how a bit of a goofball I am. I do this stuff the old-fashioned way. Let me show you. It's such a goofball. See, I got 3 different pens here. Okay? Where is it? And you can't see it. But I got blue one, and a red one, and a black one. And I got the player's name in blue. I'm like Keith Hernandez. I got the player's name in blue. In blue. I got the teams where he's going to be supposedly rumored going to, and in red is the team that he goes to. Since Shohei Ohtani's not going anywhere, we'll write down no team. He might get moved in the offseason. If not, they'll just hold on to him. They'll probably hold on to him, I would think. Probably to run the contract out. We'll probably be revisiting this probably sometime next year, which is not a problem. I'd love to keep talking about Shohei Ohtani. But let's see. Baroque says, hopefully the Padres trade for Soto and give up a ton. Why? They're telling you they're going to win. They're already difficult now to deal with the Mets anyway, and any team, especially bringing in Hader. Hader's a big pitcher. How well he does in postseason, that's another story, but, we'll see. I would mention the Yankees did make an offer for Ohtani from Kenneth Flood. How you doing, Kenneth? Are the Mets doing anything? Yes. I guarantee it. I guarantee that the Mets will bring in a bat and they'll get some relief help. Probably make at least 3 trades tomorrow, if not 2. I could see them being very active. They've been active anyway. They've made 3 trades. They made the 2 trades with the Pirates. They made the trade with the Reds. I think the Reds are not done moving players around, but Worship OG. I'm hoping Soto stays with Washington and goes to the Cardinals. I'm not worried about either team, okay? Primo Brady, you think we will give up any of our top prospects? If yes, who? Well, they don't want to give up Vientos. And the rate things are going, I don't think they want to give up Alex Ramirez either. I'd have to take a look, take a quick peek. I would mention about the Met prospects. Keith Law of The Athletic put out a new list. Mets have to read the 47 best prospects in baseball. Alvarez, Beatty, and Kevin Parada. So the Mets have a big group of prospects coming along now. If a big prospect is moved, let me see if I can find the list. But really, you don't want to move Alvarez. You don't want to move Beatty. If Vientos is untouchable now, it's because it seems like that. Probably 2 guys to circle for the Mets is Ronnie Mauricio, which I think he might be the most obvious guy to go. And he's almost ready. He's in Double-A. And Alex Ramirez, who's in Brooklyn. Take a quick peek at Mauricio's sort of he's not really taking a major step forward. 249, 290 on base percentage, 475 slugging. Slugging's pretty good. His slugging part is actually pretty good. But his home run total is pretty good, but I don't know if he's taking a step forward. Vientos is taking a step forward. He's close to being major league ready, I would think. Uh, let's see. Kenneth Fled, Vientos for DH. Maybe. Is he running for is he running for DH? I think he's running for DH. Maybe, if the word is that if they can't make a trade, um, if they can't make a trade today for or tomorrow for a DH, they're going to put him as DH. Which in one regard wouldn't be a bad thing because he's an unknown, but then it's not a good thing because then, you know, he's a kid. You want to do that? I don't know. Okay, let me get back to the chat. Worship OG, I would hate to see Soto as a Padre or as a Dodger. Hey, if so, the team that Soto was on is bad. How much better is he going to make them going forward? You know what I mean? How much better can you get? Especially since he's been on a bad team this whole time, and he hasn't improved their situation. And in fact, since he has come up after that first year, they've been worse. So I don't know what kind of effect he can have long term. I'm just being honest about the record stuff, but we'll see. Now with the Mets, we have Martinez out there. His numbers, aside from the lack of home runs and RBIs, his numbers are actually pretty good. He's got 32 doubles. Let me find him. He's got 32 doubles. His slugging is very good. I'm going to go to the Red Sox page. Red Sox are one game under 500. And Honey Bloom has not done. I'm sorry, he's done a bad job up there. The guy penny pinches everything. It says in Tampa, man. I don't know why they hired him. Looking back, and it's a good thing Mets didn't hire him. They were going to hire him instead of what was his name? Brody? No, it wasn't Brody. It was the other guy. Let's see. All right, here's JD Martinez. He's 34 years old. He's going to be 35. Whoops. He's going to be 35. And, he's had an okay year. But to be honest with you, he could probably do a little better. Be honest with you, in terms of his numbers. I can find him. Or he's frozen here. But everything moves slowly here at the baseball. That's like I said earlier. The biggest frustration is dealing with stuff online. All right. Interesting. I don't know what are the Brewers doing here? Look at stuff with the Brewers right now. From Bond Night, the Brewers also may catch Omar Narvaez and second baseman Colton Wong available in a trade. At the same time as All-Star closer Josh Hader 3 weeks ago. Would that be a guy that Mets might be interested in? This Narvaez. These damn names. Let me take a peek at him on the side here. But this is JD Martinez in front of us right now. His number's actually not bad, except that his home run total is pretty lousy. He's got really just 2 months left on his contract. Let me just see. Everything's frozen here. He's not quite a 5-10 guy, which means he can get traded. All right. Let's see here. All right. He's got 32 doubles, which is really good. 9 home runs, that's not good. So the guy's hit 40 home runs a couple of years in his career. That's a bad number. The 40 RBIs, that's a bad number. He's probably at the rate, he's probably going to finish around 70 RBIs. I don't know exactly who's batting in front of him up in Boston. Sometimes who bats in front of you makes a big difference. Obviously, on the Mets, he'd be, you know, a lot of guys would be on base for him. Let's take a look. This is overall numbers: 9 home runs, 40 RBIs, 32 walks, 88 strikeouts. Strikes out quite a bit. 280 batting average. About on line with his career. 354 OPS. It's on line with his career. It's a little bit higher. His slugging percentage is low to his career. His OPS is low to his career. His OPS plus is low to his career. It's not good. I mean, some of the numbers are good. His getting on base is fine. His doubles are fine. But the home runs is a problem. If he had 5 more home runs, 10 more home runs, he'd be better shape with just looking at it on the surface. I know he's been dealing with a lot of back problems. So do you really want to bring in a guy that's got back problems? I mean, he's only going to be here for a couple of months. That's the big problem with these rentals. You bring these rentals in, you don't want to have to be stuck with giving up a guy like Vientos that's probably going to be the DH on this team anyway next year. So you want do you really want to give up a guy like him for a DH for 2 months that's got a bad back and you don't know if you're going to get the production that you used to get out of him from the past? I don't know. That I don't know on that. The Yankees made a trade today. They picked what the hell? They picked Scott Efros from the Cubs. They keep saying, "Oh, the Yankees did a great trade," blah, blah, blah. But then they gave him this big prospect. I want to remind people again, like I said, the Yankees never give up anybody good. Never, ever, ever, never give up anybody good, ever. This Efros. So this prospect they gave up probably a nothing prospect. By the way, hello Pat Cole. Yes, no, that's how he's supposed. Omar Navaz. Let me see his numbers. See how good he is. I like to get the numbers. Numbers always tell me something. Something I don't see. It's interesting that the Brewers are so active, moving big pieces off their major league roster. Navaz, those numbers are not great. Nah, I don't think so. Navaz hitting 235, 324 OP on base percentage, 369 pass. The OPS is 688, not good. The OPS plus 94 is terrible. He's terrible. That shouldn't touch him. Let me take a look at Colton Wong. Mets don't really need him, but I just want to look at him. Colton Wong, they love trading him. He's a bit of a we know him. He's a bit of a bonehead, that guy. When he got picked off in the World Series that one time, I could see him getting moved. He's hit 249. He's having an okay year. For him, that's actually kind of low. It's kind of low for him. 7 home runs, 25 RBIs. That's a better off with Jeff. Better off with Jeff McNeil. Sorry. They can have the National League can have those guys. I'd rather have Vasquez than Navaz. Navaz is not any good. He's a good defensive player. He's not a good offensive player. Mets have had enough bad offensive catchers the last couple of months. So the Brewers and the Padres, they made this big deal. And interestingly enough, can you imagine if they played in the World Series? Oof, that'd not be would be a raised bonanza. I was talking to Ballcap Sports, I think the other day, and we just talked about how the ratings for a Dodgers Astros matchup would be off the charts. It would be awesome to see that. Of course, we want to see the Mets play the whoever, except for the Yankees. I don't want the Mets playing the Yankees if the Mets get to the World Series. Screw the Yankees. Yankees suck all the fun out of things. So this trade for the Dodgers and it's something we want to talk about. The Dodgers and the Rays. The Dodgers and the Rays made this trade. Clevenger for rookie ball outfielder Herman Tapia. Hmm. They're another team that never gives up anybody good. That's the Rays. The Rays never give up anybody good, ever. The Rays and Dodgers never give up anybody good. Especially the Rays. If they give up somebody he's no good. With all the trades they made, where they got rid of this guy and that guy, and it didn't turn out to be anything. Let's see. I was constantly checking my Twitter. Here's some from Ken Rosenthal. And just about this dopey trade with the who cares about this Dodgers Rays trade? I mean, really, to be honest with you. But let's go through run down some of the teams here um, with all these names. If you have any questions about the Mets, don't be afraid to ask. And of course, subscribe and like the video. Juan Soto. We had the Padres. I'll underline some of these teams that seem to be at the end of this thing. The Padres are in on him. The Padres. The Cardinals and the Dodgers. Yes, Ernesto, we've seen that. A big, massive trade. That's why I came back on sooner than I wanted to. So we got San Diego, Seattle, Los Angeles, Toronto, St. Louis, San Francisco. We crossed San Francisco out because um, San Francisco is selling. The Yankees and the Rangers. I had the Mets on this list, but the Mets are off of this list because they're not trading to the Mets. Also, there's word that Soto might not get traded now. Any team dealing with them, don't trade your 6 best prospects for him. I think that's suicide. No matter how good he is, that's suicide for your overall organization. Because you develop these guys, and then all of a sudden you trade a massive amount of them in one deal, and you're not getting a second player to go with them. I would not do that. That's not the kind of trade you do in season anyway. That's the kind of trade you do in the off season if you can do it. JD Martinez. Obviously, the Mets, Houston, and the Brewers. Keep an eye on the Brewers with him. Obviously, the Brewers are going to be very, very aggressive. And they've shown to be aggressive. They just traded their closer. Dom Smith. Where is Dominic going? Keep an eye on him. 2 places. Boston and the Cubs. And keep an eye with him with Washington. I know the Mets aren't trading anybody to Washington and any kind of deal with Soto or Josh Bell. But if Josh Bell goes between now and tomorrow, Washington could be needing a first baseman. We got San Diego. Because San Diego did make that trade that didn't happen because obviously the Padres, Chris Back failed his, I guess, physical the Mets went through. And went through his medicals. And it turned out they were right. Cincinnati, Oakland, Detroit, Colorado, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'll put the Diamondbacks there in case they trade Christian Walker. I can't imagine Dom Smith being on this team after they brought in Vogelback and Naquin. I can't imagine him being here going forward. I just can't imagine that happening. If that happens, I'd be completely, totally blown away by that. To me, that's a no-brainer that he's not coming back. He's not coming back from that IL stint that he's on now. He's going to get moved. Trey Mancini, which has been very quiet over the last few hours and days, really since the middle of the week, they've been quiet. So I'll put the Mets down still. They might wind up with him, they might wind up with Trey Mancini at some point. But we got Cleveland. I mentioned Cleveland too with JD Martinez, Milwaukee, and the Astros. Astros are in on all these DHs and the catchers and everything else. And Hey, Mets got a good GM. Where's Omar? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Where's Omar? Really? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? If you're lamenting for Omar, negative Randy, then there's a problem. Remember, he signed our good buddy Ali Perez and Luis Castillo, the other Luis Castillo, the bad Luis Castillo. So don't be giving all these props to Omar. Give me a break. By the way, try not to give him props too much. Although he did a good job with the farm system. They would not have won in 2015 if it wasn't for some of the players he developed. Let's see here. From John Morrissey. Bruce did an exceptional job maximizing return for Josh Hader without meaningfully diminishing their chances to make the 2002 playoffs. Strong work by David Stearns and his staff. When are they going to win a World Series there? They've been pretty good for the last few years, and they've not come close. By the way, Josh Bell, Houston, Seattle. You're bringing up Johan? That was a no-brainer. That was a trade. And the deal that he signed was a terrible deal because he was hurt for most of those years. Really? He did a good job for 2 years. But after 2000, I hate to do it. You're going to bring this up. I'll mention this. Okay? Omar did a good job. He brought in Beltran. He brought it. You can't bring up Beltran and Pedro. You bring up these older versions of the Mets. But he did a good job, turning things around here. He brought in LaDuca, Delgado, Beltran, Pedro Martinez. But he brought in Louise Castillo. He was not built for New York. Okay. And he was way past his prime. Okay. And he brought in Ali Perez, who was a complete spaz here. I mean, I get annoyed when the Mets and I love the Mets announcers. I love the Met announcers, but they wax poetic about Ali. Ali is hated by the Met fans. We hate that guy. So the idea that you wax poetic about Ali is ridiculous. Now he made the deal for Johan, but Johan was good in 2008. He was good in 2009 until he got hurt the last month and a half. 2010 he got hurt again. 2011 he was nowhere to be found. He was hurt. 2012 he pitched pitched really well. Because the game before the no-hitter, he pitched a 4-hit shutout, which was probably a better game that he pitched than the no-hitter, by the way. And then he pitched a no-hitter, and he was done after that. And the Mets were stuck with his contract for a few years. That was a bad contract because he was past his prime. He was a shooting star for about 5-6 years. He was the best pitcher in baseball for about 2-3 years with the Twins. Okay. Now, Omar did a great job with the farm system. Okay. He developed Jacob deGrom. He drafted Lucas Duda. He drafted Matt Harvey. He drafted Daniel Murphy. Okay. He was the farm director and assistant general manager when they developed David Wright. But he didn't do an overall great job. He did a lousy job. First, I mean, if you're going to get into this, before we get back into current day time, he did a lousy job hiring Willie Randolph. He had zero experience. Okay, zero experience. Most of the Met fans here, including myself, did not want a Yankee running this team and did not want a guy with no experience running this team. After we had Art Howe here for 2 years. Okay, then what does he do? Instead of firing Willie after the 2007 season, and he brings him back for 2008, they have this monumental collapse after 2007. And he doesn't say to himself inside the front office, and the front office doesn't say, you know what, if the team gets off the slow start in 2008, would we be inclined to fire Willie? They didn't ask themselves that question. When you don't ask yourselves that question after finishing like that, then you don't know what the hell you're doing. Okay. And then instead of like firing Willie after the season, he brings Willie back. He screws up the firing by going, they make them travel out to the West Coast. Then he fires Willie. Willie has to come back. I don't know how Willie got home. I don't know if the Mets paid for his fare. He probably didn't. He hires his bench coach, Jerry Manuel, who was a complete disaster. He was a complete disaster as the manager. I hated Jerry Manuel because after games the Mets played poorly, he would laugh. And then all on Omar. All of that. Yeah, but don't bring up Omar. Omar's not a. I'm sorry, Randy. You can't bring. You came here earlier with your negativity. You got to be more clear when you put stuff out there. Okay. There's nobody that does a better job with developing young players than Omar Minaya. Okay. But we know what the Mets need. This is not difficult for the Mets to figure out. Okay, they need more offensive help and they need bullpen help. All right. And they could use some help behind the plate, quite frankly. But anyway, that's my little rant on Omar. Let's see. So please like this video. In the meanwhile, and of course, subscribe to the Baseball Hut. So let me get back to my list. Yeah, so Josh Bell's out there. Teams mentioned are the Mariners, Houston, the Guardians, the Brewers, obviously, and the Mets. It seems like this thing with the Mets is kind of cooled because see, that's a play they have to trade. He's going to get traded. He's definitely going to get traded. Is Josh Bell, and I don't think I will be seeing him here with the Mets. It seems like the Mets have sort of moved on from bringing him in. Brandon Drury, where's he going to go? I've heard the Brewers, the Guardians, the Indians, Texas, the White Sox. I'll put the Mets there. Now, three teams are in on him that have been attached to him. Is the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Mariners. The Dodgers the Braves made a trade before for Adrianza. I forget who it was for, where they got him from. Just want to mention that. Wilson, a lot of teams going to want Drury because he's not going to cost a lot, and he's done a really great job of hitting with Cincinnati. And he did a really good job here last year as the bench guy. Hey, I just like to say I am not impressed with Epler hugging Vientos or other prospects. First of all, the Mets don't need a lot to win a World Series here. Okay? This is not, I know this is a win down team. They got the big move that's pitching tomorrow night, Thunder. The big guy is going tomorrow. That's the big acquisition. They're getting the big acquisition tomorrow night on the mound. And DeGrom. DeGrom is pitching tomorrow. If DeGrom is healthy, this team's going to the World Series. So we're not talking about big moves here. We're not talking about Juan Soto. Okay, they have not made big moves here so far. Okay, they didn't give up. I mean, they gave up. Maybe you could say they gave up something for Vogelback. Nobody's even talking about Holderman now. Vogelback has a couple good games. Nobody's talking about him. But and they made the move with the Reds. Those aren't big moves. Those are moves for October. The moves we're looking at are for October. Okay, we're not talking about. You don't give up a big prospect for a guy that's not going to be here next year. You just don't do that. From Ray Cheney, the Mets need to make a move, even if that means giving up a few prospects. I think Beatty and Alvarez are off limits unless they're for Soto. Soto's not coming here. I don't think Soto's getting traded now. Okay. And the players they gave up for Naquan, those guys are so far down an A ball. You know, I don't even know if they're playing much down an A ball. But like I said, we're not talking about big moves. It's not like last year when they needed help with shortstop. Uh, the Mets need to make these sort of small moves to help them against against left-handed pitching. I think they did enough with Vogelback and Naquin that they don't need to make a big move per se. Like, for instance, they didn't need to make um, an Otani move. Okay, they didn't need to do that. By the way, they don't need to do that. Uh, Pat Cole says Vientos has Pete Alonso power. I'm all for hooking. Exactly. I've heard this for 2 years about Vientos. He's got big power. All right. Now he does not have a position on the field, which is fine now, since the National League has the DH. Now, if they don't make a move, guys, for a bat, don't get all panicked. Okay, because this kid, if the Mets hadn't been in this thing, hadn't had this big lead, I mean, they're going to win 102 games. They're on pace for that. They're 27 games over 500. If they weren't playing that well, say they were like 20 games under 500, Vandos would be here playing every day. But because the team has been so good, you don't have to rush him. But what if he doesn't pan out? Not every prospect works out. That's true. But if you believe in the player, that he's going to help you down the line, even this year, you hold on to him. He's not worth a Wilson Contreras, at least from the Mets standpoint. Just use him as an example, or a JD Martinez standpoint. Maybe you use him for Juan Soto. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Why do you need to make a deal for a big prospect for a guy that's only going to be here 2 months? Maybe you deal somebody off the major league roster that's not helping you. Maybe you flip Fogelback. Not that some team would be interested in him that's out of a race. I'm just saying. Contreras is a different story. The problem with the Mets getting Contreras under is the fact with trading for Contreras is he is a rental, and the Mets have the number one prospect in baseball. Francisco Alvarez is considered the best prospect in the game. If the Mets didn't have him, then they could say, well, maybe they could sign Contreras in the offseason. That's the problem. That's the problem that the Mets have. It's a good problem to have. That's why they've been dealing with bad production behind the plate. Because you have a big catcher down in AAA. He's not ready yet. Maybe he'll be ready, in a week from now or 2 weeks from now. Who knows? But why trade Vientos? Just use him as I'm talking about him. Why trade Vientos to a team for a guy that's only going to be here 2 months? Like it's outrageous what the Red Sox are asking for with JD Martinez. You know what I'm saying? JD Martinez is 34 years old. He's going to be turning 35. Why would you trade a 22-year-old player who's considered a big prospect in terms of being as a DH or a hitter for a guy? Hold on a second. I'm getting a call here. Sorry about that. Pointing a text message. Yeah, Alvarez is considered the number one prospect in baseball, and he is the best catching prospect in baseball as well. Since Rutschman has been called up to the Orioles, he's now considered the best catcher in the game. And Brett Beatty is considered the second best third baseman in the game behind Jordan Walker, who's with the Cardinals. Alex Soto, who seems to be a family member. Guess he wants him here. Such a serious picture, Alex. Alex is a scholar, as you can tell. Alex is a scholar. Boy, very serious. Very serious man right here. He's got a serious question. Very serious. I'll give it the farm for Soto. He's proven while the minor leaguers are not. That is true. But you're going to give up 6 prospects in season? They're going to want Alvarez, Beatty, Vientos, Mauricio, Allen, Ramirez. You're going to give up all those guys? And who's the next guy? Khalil Lee? Nick Plumer? Kevin Parada? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. That's already in. They don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Sorry. Hello, Big Pop 1. Hello, D74. Randy Williams. Remember this conversation when it's bases loaded in the playoffs and Nino or McCann strike out. Nino and McCann will not be hitting in that spot. If it's early in the game, maybe. But I can guarantee you late in the game, you'll see Vogel back or you'll see Naquin in there. And those guys that hit a little bit better than them. Or they'll have this right-handed bat. Okay? And who knows? Maybe they'll call up Alvarez sometime. The minor league season goes to something about the Mets. If they don't make a trade for a catcher, don't be surprised they call up Alvarez in September to be a catcher. From Ken Rosendahl. Mets and White Sox among teams seeking to add left-handed reliever. The Tigers' Andrew Chafin is of interest to both clubs and other teams too. Sources tell The Athletic. The rest of $6 million salary this season and $7 million next season. Chafin also can opt out after this season. That is a guy to get. Okay. That should have signed him in the offseason. Let me find Andrew on my list here. We'll put the White Sox down on him. Obviously, he's a guy the Mets should have signed in the offseason. I was very annoyed that the Mets did not get him. Now they have see with him, they're going to have to give a little bit more to the Tigers are so bad. I don't know what the hell happened there. They just haven't hit at all. They've been so bad. But what time is the trade deadline tomorrow? Ray Cheney, who wants to trade everybody. It's 6 p.m. tomorrow. Ray, I'm glad you're not the general manager of the Mets or any team for that matter. Just looking at Soto a little bit, who knows how long he's going to be playing right field? How much longer is he playing right field for? 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Is he going to be playing right field the rest of his career? I don't think so. Speed is not his game. He's not. He's a great hitter, great young hitter, but overall, he's not good. You know what I mean? Not good. Please like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Big Pomp one. Yes, I just got a little news here. A little tweet from Ken Rosendahl. The Mets and the White Sox are talking about Andrew Chafin. Keep an eye on him. I've heard his name a couple times today. So keep an eye on him for today. Keep an eye on JD Martinez. I've heard some stuff about him in the last little bit. There's also was a big trade a little while ago. The Brewers traded Josh Hader to the Padres for 4 prospects. A massive trade that a lot of the channels are talking about. And I came back on early to talk about it because now I'm seeing that business is beginning to pick up. So it's a fun. This is the best time. This time in the winter time. I can't wait till we get to the winter meetings. Yeah, I mean, just in general. I mean, if you have a team that's not doing good, this is like the best part of your season. It's the trade deadline. If you have a bad team, and we've seen that over the years here with the Mets, when the Mets have had bad teams, we've always followed to see who's getting traded. But since the Mets have been good this year, and really they were okay last year up until the end, it's always fun to follow this stuff. Every year is fun this time of year and the wintertime. But, with the Mets being so good, we're going to have a lot of fun in September, October. In September, I want you guys and ladies that are in here, I want you to keep an eye on the community as we get closer to that big day of when the Mets. I don't want to say it. Check out the community. I'll post stuff every day as the number goes down. That magic number. I have a series is when I think the Mets are going to clinch. That's the window. That's where the window, in my view, is going to begin, and it'll be during the series against the A's. So if you go and check the calendar out, it's in the middle of September. I'm very good at predicting when the Mets are going to clinch. When they clinch, and when they've clinched in the past, so you want to be able to keep an eye on that. Yeah, absolutely right. They're absolutely right, D. Let him go to some other team for the next 2 to 3 years. He's a free agent. The agent's going to take him. The agent is going to take him to free agency. Mark my words. Mark my words today. At 2:39 p.m., I was going to say comic book. The baseball hut said he's going to free agency. So if he's going to free agency, why are you trading all these players? Let him go to some other team. There's no guarantee. If he goes to the Padres, there's no guarantee the Padres are going to win. The Mets have beat Josh Hader. Josh Hader has pitched terribly the last few weeks. You know what I mean? And here's the thing I learned about the Padres a long time ago. The Padres don't play well in pressure spots. That when the pressure's on, they lose. Okay? They play great out there because there's no pressure out there in San Diego. Okay, you can wait 2-3 years. If the Mets don't get him, okay, let me ask the chat. If the Mets win the World Series this year, but they don't get Juan Soto, first of all, the Nationals aren't trading to the Mets. So if, for instance, the Mets win the World Series, are you going to be thinking about? Are you going to be pissed all offseason they didn't get Juan Soto? No, when you can wait 2 years to get him. You know. I mean, he's going to be a free agent. What's the difference? What's the difference there? I don't care. If the Mets win the World Series, I don't care if he's here or not. I think everybody would be happy. I don't think they'd be thinking, "Oh, they didn't get Juan Soto." I mean, it might be somebody. Might be somebody out there that's going to be pissed off. It's not going to be me. Bob Nightingale, the Padres officially announced a 5-year, $100 million contract extension for hometown ace Joe Musgrove. Okay. Here's the thing about Musgrove, which I was very interested in the Mets getting him. If this guy wants to stay in San Diego, stay there. We all love Tony Gwynn. I love Tony Gwynn. But the thing about Tony is he played his whole career. He won 8 batting titles. He played his whole career in San Diego. No pressure there. Trevor Hoffman pitched his best years in San Diego. No pressure. When he pitched in pressure games, in the World Series, postseason, who blows it? I mean, who blows an all-star game? Trevor Hoffman, because he couldn't handle the pressure. So it's one of those things. Hold on a second. It's one of those things that there's not a lot of pressure there. So if Joe Musgrove wants to play in San Diego, God bless him. He played under Tony Gwynn when he was in college. Went to San Diego State. That makes a lot of sense. That's probably why he's pitched a lot better. Again, here's from Michael Mayer from Mets Mirage. It's a great website. I always use that for my reference with baseball. He's saying the Mets are very much like Andrew Chafin. So Andrew Chafin, by the way, is on the thumbnail. He's got the guy with the beard. Let me tell you, I want to see him up standing next to Daniel Vogelback. That's what I want to see. Now, for the 84 people in the chat, please like this video. And, of course, subscribe. If you want to participate in the chat. Let's get a whole bunch of likes in here. That'd be great. We're going to be going on for a while. As we get closer to the deadline. From Hut, I have a gut feeling the Dodgers are getting Soto. Eh, we'll see. We'll see. He's not Ted Williams yet. I have compared him to Ted Williams, but I did not see Ted Williams. He is not. He is not Ted Williams yet. And I wouldn't mention this about Ted Williams. He didn't win a World Series. He did not win a World Series, by the way. So just keep that in mind um, about Juan Soto. Juan Soto has done a lot of great stuff. Let me punch him up. Why would the Brew Crew be Heyman? Why would the Brew Crew get rid of Josh Hader? I think they kind of just got. I don't know. They already have a closer in Devon Williams. I think he's kind of like. I think people sort of caught up with his shtick as a pitcher. He throws really hard, but he's a little wild. He's got a little Mitch Williams in him. He's got a little Mitch Williams in him, quite frankly. And I think that's kind of what happened. I think they kind of got. I think they just kind of got stale on him. They've been trying to move him for about a year. So I was hearing rumors with the Mets for a long time. I think the Mets were very interested in him, but I don't think that. I think it's not. It doesn't surprise me that he got traded. I was hearing him before they got traded this afternoon, about an hour or so ago. So I'm not surprised. Not surprised he got moved. This is so slow. Juan Soto. Always go on Baseball Reference if you want to know something about a player. I go on this so often, it's crazy. Here's Juan Soto. 23 years old. He's a free agent after the 2024 season. Let's go through his numbers a little bit. They're very, very impressive. You can't say otherwise. But he's not he is, he's not Ted Williams yet. He's good, but he's not Teddy Ballgame yet. By the time Ted Williams was 23, he'd already hit 400 in his career. All right, let's see. So his career average is 426 on base percentage, 537 slugging percentage, 291 batting average. We know what he is now, and he has not hit his prime yet. He had a good year, and he walks more than he strikes out, which is something you don't see in Major League Baseball. But the thing is about this guy is that he's not Ted Williams yet. As good as he is, he might be Ted Williams one day. Richard Baptiste, this is a good one. Should have kept Javier Baez. Oh, really? Really? You think so, huh, Richard? You sure about that? I don't know about that. Let's look at Juan Soto on the side here. I mean, on Javier Baez. Javier Baez on the side. Shall we? Yes, we shall. Javier Baez. All right, let's take a peek at him. He's hitting 221. On base percentage, 266. Slugging percentage, 379. 10 home runs, 39 RBIs. And this is after a good surge. I'm glad you're not the general manager. DY Tony. Juan Soto already has a World Series ring. Yeah, and DY says this. Ted Williams never won a ring. Soto already has one at 23 years old. Yes, but Juan Soto's never hit 400. Ted Williams is considered the greatest hitter in the history of baseball. Juan Soto has not come close to that. Sorry. Can't compare to. I know I'm comparing him to him, but he's not Ted Williams. Let's take a look at Teddy Baldwin. Now, Ted Williams missed time in the military. So he missed quite a few years in the military. 1, 2, 3. He missed 5 seasons in the military. 2,654 hits. This is 5 years of the military taking up his life. 521 home runs, 1,839 RBIs, hit 400. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, let that one do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-time batting titles. Ted Williams played against better competition than Juan Soto did. Do we need to go down this road? Please don't argue against Ted Williams. They're not going to have a Juan Soto statue up in the Hall of Fame. 344 career bat. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Ted Williams wasn't. He was facing. You kidding me? Give me a break. Ted Williams could hit anybody. I think you should get off the road DUI, Tony. I'm sorry, Big Pump One. Big Pump One. You think Mets make a splash on Josh Bell? No, I don't think I don't believe that the Nationals will deal. Will deal. DUI, Tony. Did Ted Williams play before Jackie Robinson? He played before and he played after. He played before and after. Okay. He played before and after. So, there you go. If you have to ask that much, if you have to ask that question, DUI, Tony, that's proof right there you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? After 47, Ted Williams won 4 batting titles. And he hit 388 when he was 38 years old. Tony Gwynn looked up to him. That was his hero when he played. If you have to ask that question, did he play before? If you have to ask that about Jackie Robinson, then you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. Frank Matos. What do you think about the hated trade? Who will be the Brewers closer? Brewers close Devon Williams. It's a big trade for the Padres. The Padres traded Taylor Rogers in that deal, so they basically and 3 other prospects. I should have mentioned Rogers, but that's a huge deal for the Padres. Puts them in a different situation because I was not impressed with him with Rogers as a closer. He did not impress me at all. I know he beat the Mets in the 9th inning a couple of times, but I was not impressed at all. Oh, really? So now I'm reading here from Andy Martinez. Andy did not block me everywhere. 2 clubs who've talked to the Mets came away with the impression they're not willing to move prospects Vientos, Mauricio, and Ramirez for a rental player. That's in addition to Alvarez and Beatty, obviously. Mets so far holding firm in position. RE trading prospects we reported last night. We're good. They should not do that. They should not do that. They should not do that. From Tom, do you think the Mets land JT? I mean JD. Well, we'll see. Tony, I think you're joking around. Tony, I think is joking around now. The guy had it down to a science. He wrote a book on it. Matthew Landau, how you do, Matthew? Bruce fleeced the Padres, in my opinion. Well, in terms of just as in terms of closers, they did. But in terms of maybe the volume, in terms of the prospects, well, we'll see. But I don't think they got fleeced. But I don't want to face Hader later in the season. Later in the off season. I mean, in the postseason. Uh, now I know. Let me put him on timeout. He's talking stupid now. You're talking ridiculous now. I'll put you in a timeout. I didn't block it. It's just ridiculous. Hello, Todd Licata. Hater must be another Stroman. I don't think so. I think it's more just the thing about Hader is that um, I think in terms of as a pitcher, I think a lot of I think baseball's kind of caught up with him a little bit in terms of just in general. I think they kind of figured him out a little bit. Let's see here, some stuff popping up here. Again from Andy Martinez, there is not total internal unanimity inside Mets to stick to this approach. It's about the prospects. There's no pressure from Steve Cohen to make a splash just to do it. Chafin, Loop, and that ilk would have lower prospect costs. Right. Don't forget about Aaron Loop, by the way. Aaron Loop is out there, too. Cares about, pack hole. Hader has a bad post on Twitter. Oh, he does. Okay. I don't think that's why they moved him. I think they probably moved him because of the fact that he's pitched not so great. I don't think he's pitched that great, by the way. They've been trying to move him for a while, so it's not a surprise they moved him. But well, Mike Jones, what do you make about the trade the Yankees made? I'm not too familiar with Efros. I'm sure he pitched against the Mets, last, the weekend before the trade deadline, but who knows? The bullpen is so weird that one minute the bullpen can be good, the next minute it's not good. D74 Lupa struggled this year. I'd much rather get Chafin. I wouldn't mind having both of them. How about that? Here's the thing about Loop. He was part of that bad clubhouse. So if he's part of that bad clubhouse, there's no reason to sort of worry about bringing him back in here so you can bring that back. I didn't really appreciate him drinking beer after a game during the press conferences. I don't really appreciate that too much. You know what I mean? I don't really care for that, to be honest with you. It's not because I don't drink. It's just that, it just didn't appeal to me, him doing that. And it kind of spoke to that he was more interested in having a bud, after the game than I know he pitched well. And I didn't think he was going to pitch well like he did last year. So I was that's why my attitude was not with the Mets, was not to give him 2 years. He got 2 years with the Angels. Mets going to bring him back, not having given him 2 years. I don't know. Chafin's a different story because I thought he was good. And the Mets should have brought him in. I thought that he would have been the right guy coming into the season, but they didn't do it. I don't have a problem with them bringing him in here when he has an opt-out after the season. That's not the worst thing in the world. But I really like Chafin a lot, so we'll see. And I want to see him stand again. Like I said earlier, I like to see him standing next to standing next to Vogelback. Yes, I am back on. I came back on because there was that big trade with the Brewers and the Padres. But I'm going to be on for a while. I should mention the Mets lineup, I guess. See if I can find it. Yeah, they should have gone Chafin in the offseason. I mean, they've been okay there, but just they probably would have been better off if they'd done that. Here's the Mets lineup. Scherzer's going tonight against the Nationals, against Patrick Corbin. This could be Patrick Corbin's last start, folks. Patrick Corbin, 4-14. How did he win 4 games? 4-14 with an ERA of 6.49. 6.49. Here's the lineup for the Mets. Nimmo in center field. Marte's back in the lineup in right field. Francisco Lindor at shortstop. Pete Alonso at first. JD Davis as the DH. That might be JD's last game with the Mets. So, Marcania in left field. Eduardo Escobar at third. Jeff McNeil at second. And Tomas Nido behind the plate. It'd be interesting to see who they, if they get themselves a DH. If they get themselves a DH, what happens with JD Davis? Because, like I've been saying, our good buddy Don Smith is probably gone. I don't think he'll ever be back with the Mets. KT Rob says Washington's going to have a lot of guys out of the lineup tomorrow. We better sweep them. I think the Mets are going to sweep them. I don't think it's going to matter if they were in the lineup or not in the lineup, quite frankly. The Mets have played well against them anyway. They're going to be looking to see if they're getting traded. They're going to be totally distracted. Mets are not distracted. I'm just going to do some different accounts here, if you don't mind. But I don't think it's going to matter who's in that lineup the next 3 days. I think the Mets are going to sweep them anyway. Mets are going to win. I mean, they've won already 6 in a row. And why is there this comment? They better what? What's going to happen? They take 2 out of 3, or they lose 2 out of 3. You know. All right, DUI Tony. I had enough of him. Bye. Come back and talk stupid. Bye. Skadoosh. Bye. Yes, you sure about that? I don't know about that. All right, when you put exactly when you go after Ted Williams, you're getting into this is deep water, you know. And now he's been sent off to the Phantom Zone with a lot of comic book people and somebody that was here a little while ago trying to start trouble between me and another YouTuber. I have a regular job, to be honest with you. But yes, never go after Teddy Ball game. Big mistake. By the way. D74. Martinez scares me. He'll be 35, has struggled the last month. Injury prone, especially with his back acting up. I'm not comfortable giving up a top 5 prospect for him. Ding, ding, ding. Agree. I agree with you. 100% agree with you. You can't give up a big prospect for him. I'm sorry. You can't do that. You cannot do that. That's for damn sure. You don't do that. You know, you just don't do that. Hold on, I need a drink. Look. On Big Pop 1, you think the Mets make a move on JD Martinez or catcher Christian Vasquez? Maybe, but not for Vientos. That's for damn sure. I'll give them Dom Smith in a package of a bunch of prospects that are in Class A, but not for Vientos. Not when I have this 35-year-old guy that's got a creaky back. All right, let me get back to my list. My wonderful list. Ian Happ. I've heard the Brewers, the Padres, the Yankees, the Cardinals, the Blue Jays, and the Atlanta Braves. The Braves have been very quiet, other than this ticky-tack trade they made today. Jorge Lopez, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Padres, the Yankees, and the Phillies. Mets, any team picking him up has got to be extremely, extremely careful. And the reason I mentioned him, To be careful with him. He's been a terrible pitcher for most of his career until this year. He's been terrible. Got to be extremely careful picking him up. Obviously, Luis Castillo got traded in that big trade the other night to the Mariners. That was a huge trade. That really was a big trade. Huge trade. Keto rising. Ian Happ would be perfect for us as well as keeping him away from the playoff rivals. He crashes left hands and has a lot of position flexibility. It's a lot like Ben Zuberis in a lot of ways, but it's not as good as Zuberis was. That's a move you'd have to give Vientos. Like I said, the Mets seem to be not want to do that now. They don't want to give up like 5 of their prospects now. So it's that next run. I don't think teams are going to want Khalil Lee. I don't know what the deal is with Khalil Lee. He could go. He's definitely a prospect that could go. Khalil Lee, Nick Plumer. That's the next level of prospects we're talking about with the Mets. You know. Nelson Cruz, I've heard nothing with Nelson Cruz. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's stuck there. I think he's not productive anymore. So I don't think that's happening. Noah Syndergaard. Noah's going to go somewhere, I think. The Angels are a disaster. Although they're not moving Otani. But I've heard the Yankees. I don't think he's going to the Yankees. I've heard the Blue Jays. Maybe he'll go back to the Toronto. The Twins. The Minnesota. The White Sox. Seems like the White Sox are buying. I don't know why. I don't know why. The White Sox are buying. The Phillies and the Cardinals. I can see him going to the Phillies. I'm going to put an underline under them. That's my prediction where Noah's going to go. And it'll be interesting to see. Will Noah want to pitch against the Mets at Citi Field later on in a couple of weeks? And then there's a big rumor that happened this morning. This is Frankie Montas. He's actually rumored to go to the Yankees today because after the Yankees lost down on Castillo, and they've been sort of focused in on him. I've heard the Yankees, the Cardinals, Toronto, and the Dodgers. The Cardinals should get Montas. They'd be better off than getting Soto, quite frankly. Mike Jones. Mets should go get Wilson Contreras to keep him away from the Astros from a Yankee fan. Okay. Well, we'll see. I don't think he's coming to the Mets. I don't think Contreras is coming here. I think Contreras is probably going to San Diego. David Roberts is a different story. I think it'll come down to the Mets or the Yankees. But I don't think the Mets are getting him. If you ask me, I think San Diego is the favorite here. How much more do they have to trade after making this trade today? We'll have to find out. From Stony 814. Hiya, Hut. What do you think of us getting maybe Trey Mancini? Would you want him? He's okay. He's not at the level of JD Martinez. And he's not at the level he was before he got sick with cancer. So I don't know where he is as a player. I know that him dealing with that new ballpark, the way they've changed the dimensions, has been a problem. And we've seen that here when they changed from Shea to Citi Field. That makes a big difference. So, but we'll see. I mean, I know he hits lefties. I know he's struggled this year a little bit with it. He's a character guy, and you wouldn't have to give up nearly as much for him as you would for Martinez, just on the surface. There's New Jersey. Well, then, why are we having live streams if the Mets aren't dealing prospects And you agree because they aren't getting anyone that. I didn't say that. Des, New Jersey, little negative, Neds. Des. Uh, the Mets are going to make a deal. The Mets are going to be active. They're probably going to take this to tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with doing a live stream. I'm going to do a live. I'm going to be on until 6 o'clock, 6:30. You better get used to seeing my face the next 3 hours. Next 3 hours. Let me just check my charge here. Pretty good with that. But, there's nothing wrong to sit here and talk about it. How about Brayu? Hey, Hud, who would you rather have, Bell or Martinez? I'd rather have Bell at this point. I'd rather have Bell, to be honest with you. I think he's coming into his own as a player. I think he's getting better. I think he's getting better as a player. And I would, if I were the Mets in the offseason, I'd try to focus in on him after. He's 29 years old. You could put him as DH, and he's been a pretty good player in his career. I really like him, He's not a high WAR guy, but he does drive in runs. Maybe his wins above replacement would be higher as a DH. Let me go to his numbers a little bit. Because to me, he would be a better version of, obviously, a Dom Smith. He's better than Dom Smith, not even close. That guy, I would focus to try to get him in the offseason. He's 29 years old. Give him like a 4-year deal, 3-year deal. I would like to have him. He would be pretty good. And have him be, my DH. That's how I look at him. I think at this point, I think he's a better player than Martinez. I think Martinez is kind of past his prime. Especially if he's having back problems and his numbers actually indicate his power. The thing about these power hitters, sometimes you can tell. Let me say it again. Sometimes with these power hitters, the average is like an indicator. Now, his average has not gone down. But if they're a big bat and they have back problems, usually it's the power that goes. That's what happened with Mattingly. I can use certain examples of players that were big power hitters, and the first thing that started going when they were big average hitters, and the average starts to slip, that means they're getting up there in age and they're getting older and not nearly as effective. But with some players, when the power goes, then you're in trouble. I give you a couple examples. We have Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly was a great power hitter until he hurt his back. Then he couldn't hit the ball out of the ballpark anymore. Then you have other players, which is so weird, as Howard Johnson from years ago. And Hojo was a guy that had a lot of power and then it was gone. So it could be any number of things, but we're going to take a look at Josh Bell. It's taking forever. And now you have Mike Trout and his back problem. So we'll see what happens with him. I don't think that he's going to be the player that he was, unfortunately. Josh Bell. Josh Bell would be pretty good for next season. But then again, if they decide they want to play Vientos, then Josh Bell is probably not going to happen. His numbers are actually pretty good. Josh Bell. Now, please like this video and subscribe. In the meantime, let me check my phone here on the side. All right, here's Josh Bell. He will be 30 years old in 2 weeks. Okay. I think he has a lot left. I think this guy could be a DH for a long time. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Thank you, Stoney. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. It takes forever. His WAR's very high. He's having a really good year. Now, this is a guy that's having a good walk year, unlike our buddy Michael Conforto, who had a bad walk year last year. So it looks like he's played every game this year for them. Sitting 302, it's above average. 385 on base percentage, above average. 493 slugging percentage, above his career average. He's having a very good year across the board. But for the Mets, he'd be a DH primarily and third base and first base once in a while. I guess he could play the outfield a little bit. He's already driven 100 runs in his career. I think that this is a guy that could do a lot of stuff for a really good team. He'd be a guy that could bat fifth and sixth. You leave him alone. You bat him. You DH him most of the time, and you play him at first from time to time. At least with the Mets, anyway. Let me take a look at other things that matter. He's a switch hitter. Well, that's a big deal too. Be a big power hitter and a switch hitter too. So awesome. Frank Matos. But I have a non-Mets question. What percentage do you believe Devon Williams will be Brewers closer over Trevor Rogers? 100%. 100%. Without a doubt. Oh, and I would mention this. I know everybody is so like keeping him in your prayers. Robbie Cano has been designated for assignment for a third time. 3 times. 3-time loser. So he's gone. But a third time. I think we've seen the last of him. If we see him again, it's on a really bad team. I'm surprised the Braves brought him in, to be honest with you. That was a very surprising move that they signed him. Unless you have to lose an Albies, but I wouldn't have brought him in. They would have been better off with an internal option. But he's done. I would think that Cano, maybe he'll get one more shot, but I think more than not, we've seen the last of Robbie Cano. Don't you know? From Big Pop 1. All right, so what do you think the Mets will do in the trade deadline? I think they'll get relief help. I think that Andrew Chafin is probably an option. I think Michael Fulmer is an option. I think David Robertson is an option. I think all those guys are in play for the Mets. Now, as for a hitter, I think it's a 50-50 chance they make a move for a bat. 50-50. That's my opinion. It's not anything I know. It's just a feeling. I think it's probably 80% chance they'll get a relief pitcher. Probably more than that, maybe 100%. Let's go to the list again. Martin Perez. The teams attached to him, the Cardinals, the Phillies, the White Sox. I don't think the Rangers are moving him. Brian Reynolds. San Diego and Tampa, but I heard yesterday that Brian Reynolds is not going anywhere. So that's not happening. Don't mind me, just adjusting myself. You don't need to see me adjusting myself on this chair. Joey Gallo, New York Yankees. He's going to get moved. The Yankee fans, I tell you, they effing hate that guy. Hate him. The Yankee fans absolutely, positively hate Joey Gallo. Just trying to adjust my camera here. They absolutely hate Joey Gallo. Tommy Pham, he's probably going to go someplace. I wouldn't be surprised if he came here to the Mets and they put him as a right-hand DH, but who knows? But every contending team's going to want him because he's crazy. He wants to win no matter what, anything. Andrew Benintendi was moved. He went to the Yankees. The Yankees gave up nothing for that guy. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Ramon Laureano. I've heard the Braves, the Mariners, and the Miami Marlins. The Marlins are done. Mets basically put the stake in their heart this past weekend. Let's see. From John Morrissey, the Cardinals are one of the MLB's most active teams, a little more than 24 hours until the deadline. They're well positioned to land an impact starter and remain in the mix for Juan Soto. Keep an eye on the Cardinals. They're behind the Brewers uh, in the division, and they have to be taken into account. They always have a good farm system. They're always making moves. They're always very active. So that's a team to keep an eye on going forward as we get close to the deadline. Um, just to let you know. Now, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut and like this video. We're going to go until about 6:30. I will be back on probably after the game tonight. Max Scherzer's going tonight. The Mets got their regular lineup out there. J.D. Davis is still on the team, so he has not been moved, by the way. So he's still here. So he's in the lineup. The Cardinals are 3 games behind the Brewers, and they are a game back in the wild card. So you can see with the Cardinals, they're right there in 2 spots. So I could see them being very aggressive, and that's been the word. They're gonna be aggressive. I know they're in on Montas, by the way. So we'll keep an eye on them definitely. But Matthew, really can't stand the media for the Mets this whole deadline. They repeat the same shit over and over again. Hey, we know the players that they're talking about. We know what the Mets needs are. So it's not a situation. I mean, what do you want, Matthew? What do you want the Mets to do? They don't need starting pitching. The one contending team that does other than Houston. Uh, they need a DH. They kind of need help behind the plate offensively. Um, so what do you want the media to do in this situation? What do you want the Mets to do? If it was up to you, Stoney 814. The only thing I'm still shocked about is Josh Hader to the Padres. It was that very surprising that Josh Hader got traded today, because there's always been talk that he's going to be traded, but he got traded, and I think kind of people a little bit surprised that it actually happened. From MLB Post, should they bring back Aaron Loop? Can we bring back the 2021 Aaron Loop? And is Aaron Loop good in the clubhouse? You know, like I said, I'd rather have Andrew Chafin, which is what I wanted in the offseason anyway. That's how I felt. Let me just check my account here. Stony 814. Hut, would you bring back Thor? No. I think that ship has set sail. The Mets gave him a qualifying offer in the off season. So why would the Mets give him another $1 million for his mediocrity? They were giving him that contract based off of the past that he's given them. He's now a mediocre pitcher right now. The Mets don't need him. Mets, I mean, really, the Mets don't need him. Met rotation is pretty strong. DeGrom's coming back tomorrow. If he's healthy to finish out the season, Mets are going to be very difficult to deal with. Just based off the pitching, they don't need him. For Matthew, I don't think the Mets need to do anything much. Mets should get one reliever in the 8th inning and call it a deadline. If you get a DH without giving up a top 10 prospect, then sure, get a DH. I agree with you. The Mets are going to need 2 relievers. They're going to need a lefty and they need a righty. Ideally, it would be Robertson and Chafin. And if they get a DH of a lower quality, maybe a Brandon Drury or Trey Mancini. They wouldn't have to give up much for them. Maybe more with more of a Drury, to be honest with you. But I don't know how the Mets view him as inside the clubhouse. Um, Big Pump One Hut. I'm hearing the Mets Red Sox are disgusting. Disgusting. I mean discussing. A Don Smith, JD Martinez trade, and Christian Vasquez. Okay. If Dom is the biggest name that goes in the Mets trade that isn't like a top five prospect, do it. Dom is done here. He's done. Complete. Kaput. He's done here. He's not coming back. You know. After um he's done with his now he should have came off the IL on the 27th, but it's a sprained ankle. That's a 2 week injury. Uh his ankle should have been fully healed yesterday. Um and if that were the case, he should be ready to play today and tomorrow. Um I can't imagine. I keep saying this. I can't imagine Dom being here after um, after August 3rd. There's no room for him here. He's not. I'm gonna say he's not really somebody that has a room here, especially given the fact that they brought in Vogel back and they brought in Naquin. So MLB Post, Soto is in the lineup for the Nats today. Well, that's also talk too that the Nats aren't going to trade him. That word around baseball is that the Nats aren't trading him. I would mention this about Don. They could send him back to the minor leagues too. I mean, Don could spend the rest of the season in the minor leagues. Um, I mean, I would mention that. I mean, it's probably a good chance that if he doesn't get traded, you just send him back to the minors. Maybe you call him up in September when they expand the rosters to 28 players. Yeah, Corbin's a disaster. I mean, the things that the things that the Nationals have been sort of reportedly asking for Soto is ridiculous. 6 of the best prospects, and you take that money back from Corbin. F that. F that. F that shit. Fuck that shit. I wouldn't do that. Fuck that. Never do that. Never ever do that. And not for nothing, Otani is another player that all the teams. Why you want to deal for him now? Let him do it again. Let him finish out the season. Let him do it again next year, and we'll see where we're at. He's such a weird player in terms of figuring out his value. What is his value as a player? Is he more valuable as a pitcher? Is he more valuable as a bat? I don't know. Uh, Don Smith is not getting released right now. If he has options in the minor leagues, they'll send him to the minors and have him play every day. And they can always non-tender him a contract in the off season. That's probably a reasonable thing that could happen to him too. Stony 814. Hut, how old is JD Martinez? 34. He's gonna be 35. MLB Post. You think the Mets should land someone like a Joey Wendell or an Aguilar? Nah. I want somebody that's been on winning teams. I want a guy that is a little more veteran than those guys. I don't really care for those guys. I've seen enough of them. I'm not a big fan of those guys, quite frankly. I've seen enough of them with in the National League East. Aguilar always acts like he's pissed off all the time. They always the Mets are making fun of him. I mean, Marte was making fun of him because he made the last out last night. He was making fun of him. I wouldn't touch him. I wouldn't want him on my team. MLB Post. You think the Mets will land someone today? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But I'll be on till 6:00. I'll be on for the rest of the day. I was going to go all day today, but I don't think they're going to do anything. If they make a trade tonight, I'll come on after the game. I'm not going to come on before. I don't want to do that. Will they land somebody by tomorrow? Probably. Um, yeah, Otani. We'll see what happens with Otani. We'll. I think he'll probably get traded in the offseason, maybe. If not, we're going to be talking about this next year at the deadline. Um, and I think we'll be talking about Soto in the offseason too. We'll have a lot of fun. This could be a really great offseason if these guys don't get traded. Because if these guys don't get traded, then I could talk about it. I could do crazy videos about how the Mets are getting this guy and the Mets are getting that guy. You know, for selfish reasons. But not just as a Mets fan. Let's take another quick the phone. Yeah, so the Mets lineup tonight is Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Alonso, Davis, Kanya, Escobar, McNeil, Nito, and Max Scherzer's on the mound. Obviously, tomorrow, the big boy goes tomorrow. So, if anyone's upset about what trades the Mets make, they got that big guy going tomorrow. That's the biggest acquisition anybody can make tomorrow. Stony 814. Would it be hard to do trades because of baseball going on like during the games? Nah, that's happened. That's happened before. Um, that's happened before. That's not a big deal. I'm only saying that I'm not going to be on live. I don't want to do a game while I'm live. I'm not doing that. And do you want to really watch me? You want to watch Gary Keith and Ron? I'd rather watch Gary Keith and Ron watch myself. Yeah. And of course, please like this video and subscribe. Keep an eye on Christian Vasquez. If they can't bring in um, Martinez, I could see the Mets doing something with him. If they can't get Martinez, Martinez is probably what's driving that price up more than Vasquez is. Vasquez is 32. He's um, they've liked him in the past. Vientos is the value for him for Vientos is not. It's just too high. I don't see the Mets doing that. But I can see the Mets doing something with him. If they don't pick up Martinez, a Mets Red Sox deal is very much on the docket. Matthew Landa, what's your thoughts on Omar Narvaez? The Mets use that option to fall, but no, he's terrible. He's terrible. You don't want anything to do with him. The Mets have been fine with what they have behind the plate. I'm not big, I want to see them do better behind the plate, but they're going to win 102 games with those guys back there. And he's not much better than them. I'd stay away from him. His OPS is under 700, and his OPS plus is under 100. I wouldn't. He's not. He's not even average. He's not even an average player, everyday player. I wouldn't do that. I think we'll see at least 2 to 3 trades tomorrow with the Mets. At least 2 trades because they need, unless they bundle, a trade. Because we were hearing like with at least with the Orioles, or Lopez and Mancini. Um, yeah, I should check the weather because the weather has not been great today. It was raining today. It was cold this morning when I went out. Oh man, right after the live stream, it was freezing. Freezing. All right, let's check out Washington. Of course, please like this video and subscribe. Oh, the weather seems nice down there right now. No rain. Let's see. Game time 85 degrees, 8% chance of rain. So no rain. Let me take a look at tomorrow's weather. Always like to know. Tuesday seems to be 80s, the mid 80s. And the weather should be pretty good on Wednesday. For the game on Wednesday, that's very good. Hobart Bray, I see us getting Chafin more than Robertson. Either one is fine. Robertson pitches well against lefties too, but they definitely need a lefty. but they need bullpen help anyway. They need an experienced guy late in the game. So it's now official. The Padres have made it official. They traded for Josh Hader. So that's official. Hold on, I need a drink. Look, 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 look. Stony 814 says, who's the suitors on Josh Bell? All right, let me go over the names again. Where is he? Houston, the Mariners, the Mets, the Guardians, believe it or not, Milwaukee. What the hell? I write the Mets twice. What the hell's mad with me? I don't see him. I see mostly Houston with him. Houston and Milwaukee, I see him going to. I don't see him going to the Mets at all. Since you mentioned my list. All right. Michael Fulmer and Andrew Chafin, all the contending teams are going to want these guys. That's for sure. Paul Blackburn, who I've seen a little bit smatterings of. I heard the Cardinals, the Giants. You see the Giants doing that and still moving pieces. Philadelphia, I see him going to the Phillies. Christian Vasquez, his name's on here. The Mets, Tampa Bay, and the White Sox. Oh, no, what the hell am I doing? And Houston, I'm all right. I'm looking at the wrong guy. And then it's course Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy out in Oakland, who's a catcher for the A's. The Mets, I've heard a little bit about. Tampa lost that catcher. Houston, they don't have much of a catcher offensively. San Diego and the Guardians. Matthew Lando says, how much would it cost for Perez? Martin Perez? We're talking about Martin Perez? Why would the Mets want Martin Perez? Perez is not somebody he's not on the Mets radar. Mets don't need starting pitching. No, Salvador Perez, he's not going anywhere. I wouldn't go after him. I think he had his big year. He had a career year last year. He's not going anywhere. I think he's a 5'10" guy. Anyway, I wouldn't want him at this point in his career. He's coming off a bad knee injury a couple years ago. You'd have to give quite a bit for him. I would not do that. That doesn't. I don't think they're moving him. I've heard nothing with him. He hits a home run against the Yankees. Everybody's talking about him all of a sudden. People sort of forgot that he still plays. But he was injured for a long time. I don't see him moving anywhere off that team. Jock Peterson's now available, even though he's on the IL with a concussion. Carlos Rodon pitched well last night against the Cubs. I've heard the Yankees, the Twins, and the Cardinals. Nathan Eovaldi of the Red Sox, he's probably going to get moved. Jose Quintana, I've heard the Yankees in St. Louis. Obviously, David Robertson, I've heard the Mets, obviously, and the Yankees. I think all those contending teams. The White Sox, again, they'd want him back. Zach Plesac seems to be a guy that's getting a lot of attention. I've heard him with the Cardinals, the Yankees, the White Sox, the Twins, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the Jays, the Brewers, and the Mariners. Wilmer Flores. I've not heard him specifically with any team. But I put the Mets on here just for the hell of it. Houston was that one DH, and the Brewers, because they need a DH too. So I don't know where Wilmer's going to go. He kills lefties, by the way. Michael A. Taylor. I've heard him with the Braves. He's with the Royals. There's a whole bunch of other players that are on the list. But we'll see where some of them go. If they go. We've seen that big trade today of Hader haven't had happened. It's this here. It's weird when these smaller markets make these big trades and they try to like um, parse their words about what they're trying to do. Um, since Matthew asked me, let me see what Salvador Perez is here, just on the side. The Royals are 18 games below 500. See that Salvador Perez has been more of a DH this year than a catcher. Um, he's hitting 209, 13 home runs, 438 slugging percentage, 687 OPS, 89 OPS plus. He's been terrible. Why would you want him? He's not much better than what the Mets have. He's missed about 40 games. But he hurt his hamstring, right? And he's 32 years old. You don't want him. You don't want him. He's too old. He's not a free agent until 2025. I would not touch him. Now, last year, he had a big year. He had 48 home runs, a record for a catcher. If the Royals were good, he would have won the MVP. 121 RBIs. Home runs and RBIs led the American League. You don't want him. Maybe a few years ago when he was younger. When he was young, he was a great catcher. But I don't even think he's a Hall of Famer. Just looking at his numbers, he's not a Hall of Famer. 7-time All-Star, MVP, the World Series. I guess against the Mets, I guess. Skunk. Don't want him here. 5-time Gold Glove. 1-time Silver Slug Award. Nah, he's not a free agent until 2026. I wouldn't touch him. And he's not good enough. Not anymore anyway. It's not a bad thought, but he's too old now. He had his career year last year. Yeah, he's borderline case. Borderline Hall of Famer. This year. Not having a good year. From Matthew. What does Jacob deGrom need to do left to make the Hall of Fame? Be healthy. He needs to be healthy. He needs to win the Cy Young Award, I think, or at least pitch a full season and be really productive. Yeah, I mean, really, the biggest thing is his health. I don't believe he'll be here next year, to be honest with you. I don't think he's here next year. I don't think he's with the Mets next year, unfortunately. I don't think he's happy here. I think the media and obviously the Mets booth don't want to say that he's not happy here. They say it without saying it. I don't think he's coming back this year, quite frankly. After this year, and it's not anything that's bad. I just don't think he wants to be here. I don't think he likes the city here. He's a small town guy. Mets should just worry, and the Mets fans, we should all just worry about can he stay healthy this year. Help the Mets get to the World Series. That's the most important part. Get to the World Series. That's the most important thing to me. I'm not worried about next year, but if you ask me what's going to happen, I don't think he's going to be here next year. And I'll go through some of these guys a little bit. Please like this video and, of course, subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Yeah, it's it's tough being here. Kobe Baxter. Todd Licata is I don't see him going to the Braves because I don't think they can afford him. He's going to be looking for a lot of money, and I don't think the Braves would want to sign him to a long-term deal. being 35 years old. I don't see that happening. But let's go do some of the Mets roster a little bit, just so we can get a good idea of what the Mets have here. Just an overall view of it right now. Um, Pat Cole, he signed that awful contract at 18. I'd love to get $34 million too. That's a horrible contract, by the way. Yeah, it's a horrible contract, getting $34 million a year. All right, let's go do this roster real quickly about just looking at people. I know it's still in the season, but I like doing this anyway. Tomas Nido, where will he be? I think he'll probably be a backup to Alvarez. If not him, James McCann will be the backup. Pete Alonso, not going anywhere. Jeff McNeil, keep an eye on him. Just 30 years old. He's an older player coming up from the minors. He's got, 2-3 years left? 2 years left. After this year, I think. Don't be surprised if the Mets move him. Francisco Lindor. He's not going anywhere. Eduardo Escobar. He's an interesting case. He's not going anywhere because he's got another year on his contract. It's only a 2-year contract. But I could see the Mets kind of bouncing him around the field, playing him at second a little bit because Beatty's going to be ready. Beatty's going to get called up he's going to get promoted to Triple A at some point in the next few weeks. Sometime by the middle of August, he's going to be in Triple A. Escobar's keeping that seat warm until he's ready. Beatty's going to be really putting a lot of pressure on him in the next spring training. Canya's not going anywhere. He's got another year. He's played pretty good. He's pretty good, a winning player. Where's Brandon Nimmo going? I think the chance of him staying, Brandon, has gone up. Because the Mets have told him that they want him to stay. I don't like this idea of the Mets floating the idea of keeping him by making him captain. I don't think he's good enough to be captain on this team. He's not accomplished anything as a player. He's had a very difficult time staying healthy, by the way. I'm not too keen on him being the captain of the Mets. I want a guy that's been to the All-Star game. I want a guy that's had some MVP votes. That's a guy I'd like to see. Pete Alonso's the guy I want to see as the captain of this team. Nothing against Brandon. Brandon, plays hard. We know what he does as a player, but I just don't see him as the captain. I don't think he's good enough. And something against him. He's just not good enough as a player, quite frankly. Starlin Marte, that guy, boy. I love that guy. That guy's a good player. He's scary good. He's not going anywhere. Got him for 3 years. Nimmo's is going to cost a lot of money, but we'll see who else is out there in the offseason. JD Davis will probably be gone off this team. I'm not a big fan of the Mets playing Guillorme anymore. They said they're going to play him against right-handed pitching. And Escobar will be playing against left-handed pitching. Mets got a lot of free agents in the pitching staff. Bass is a free agent, but he's got an opt-in. Carrasco's going to be gone. I love Taijuan Walker. Hopefully they re-sign him. Scherzer will be back. DeGrom's going to be gone. David Peterson. See, if there's a guy that could get traded, so in one of these deals, that's the guy. That's a guy you could get something for. That's the guy. Keep an eye on David Peterson because he's pitched well. He's an extra arm in this team. The only thing that would prevent him from leaving is he's left-handed. but he's pitched really well for the Mets this year. After having a tough year last year, his numbers are pretty good across the boards, even though the walks are a little high. He's been good. Tyler McGill, they're going to groom him as a reliever when he comes back. We'll see how he handles that. I don't know if I would do that. He does give up a lot of home runs. Now to the relievers, Ottavino, he can either come or go as he pleases. Seth Lugo is going to be gone, so I think he wants to start. And I don't think the Mets. I think the Mets are tired of him. I know most Met fans are tired of him. Although he pitched really well the other day. Edwin Diaz, who in my view should be the leading contender for the Cy Young Award winner. I think he's pitched that great. He has pitched better than Alcantara. And nobody other than myself has talked about him being the Cy Young Award winner. This guy has pitched great, and I'm happy because I don't like going at the players and complaining about players. So he's a guy I'd love to see the Mets give him a 3-4 year contract after the season. All right. Here's some different here's some trades. These are proposed trades. Proposed trades by Anthony DeComo, who must be bored, waiting for some trades to happen. Yes, he wrote this article. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't already and like the video. Just checking something real quick. The Mets would this is a potential trade, so don't take it anything. The Mets would get Contreras and David Robertson, and the Cubs would get Calvin Ziegler, who's a possibility. He could go in a move. That's not a bad idea. And Joel Diaz, who I'm not totally 100% sure of. The next proposed trade, it says they don't get Contreras. They trade Dom Smith and Joe Perosa. This is a potential trade. For JD Martinez and Christian Vasquez and some money. Potential trade number 3. I wouldn't do this trade. I'm skipping that one. Potential trade number 4. So the Tigers. Gregory Soto and Joe Jimenez for Tyler McGill. Anybody do that? I don't know if I do that. I don't know if I do that. Flash Rivera. You're breaking up the Mets team. I'm not breaking up anything. You got the Mets have all these free agents that are going to be gone next year or could be gone. I mean, how many free agents we got on this team? Let me go back up. Nimmo's a free agent. We'll see what happens with him. Most of the free agents are with the pitching staff, by the way. DeGrom, Bassett, Carrasco, Taijuan Walker, Edwin Diaz, Seth Lugo, Adam Ottavino. Talking about 8 guys that are free agents. 8. Tommy Hunter. I wouldn't count him. 9. I think Daniel Vogelback's a free agent. You're talking about 10. I think Naquan's a free agent too. So that's 11. The Mets have 11 free agents on the 26-man roster. So I'm not breaking up anything. The potential of this entire team will be different next year. Half the guys on this list of wins above replacement, Half of them are gone. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the guys on here could be gone. And don't be surprised if Jeff McNeil gets traded. Just saying. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't trade everybody. I wouldn't not resign everybody. That's what I think. Let's see. Anything updated? From Dean D74. Bassett way overthinks himself. I would resign. I agree. He does overthink it a little bit, but he's a thinking man's pitcher. Is a little bit different than some of these other guys we see, but they all overthink it sometimes. He does have a player option, Bassett. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to stay here. Although I think he's going to stay here. I don't see why not. He could probably get a big contract with some other team. He doesn't really care about that. He says that's why he signed. He's like, just let my agent take care of that. I'm not interested in talking about that stuff. It's like, okay, so he's actually a pretty good attitude, I guess. Cato Rise, all the free agents is why I would not resign DeGrom. Well, DeGrom has an opt out. It's not a situation where he can stay or go or whatnot. That's up to him. He shouldn't opt out. He's making good money for a guy that's 35 years old and hasn't pitched in a year and really hasn't pitched full time since 2019. It's funny, but if he had a stronger September, he probably would have won 3 in a row, 3 Cy Youngs in a row. Instead, that skunk Trevor Bauer won it. Never going to hear from him again. Oh well. Now, please like this video, of course, and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. We're going to go for a little while. It's been kind of quiet the last hour or so. I want to take this as far as I can, and then I want to take a break around 6, I think, and we'll come back after the game's over and talk about the game and see if there's been any other moves. I don't think I'll be doing a live stream during the game. I really don't like doing that too much. Unless some huge Met trade happens, I'm not doing that. Obviously, I came back early because we had the Josh Hader trade, which was enormous. That really shifts a lot of power to the National League West, and we'll see how that all transpires over the next couple of hours and days. We're now 26 hours and 4 minutes away from the trading deadline. So we're going to find out if there are any other big trades. I mean, really, the shock today was the Hader getting moved, because there's always been so much talk about him getting moved over the last few years, and now it's happened. So he's gone. He's gone to the San Diego. So the San Diego's all in on trying to win this year. There's been no talk about Ohtani. Ohtani is staying in Anaheim. He's staying in with the Angels. He's not going anywhere. Soto, it seems like things have cooled down with everybody. I don't think he's getting moved. I think he'll probably get moved in the offseason. The Nationals shouldn't have put it out that they were moving him. They shouldn't have done that. You try not to do, unless there was something bad must have happened between them and the player and the agent for them to come out and embarrass him like that. They shouldn't have said anything and just moved on, But obviously somebody in that front office not too happy. It's not too happy with this. Hold on a second. Obviously, nobody in that front office with the Nationals were too happy with the way that whole contract situation worked out. So clearly, they were very quick to want to move on from him. I guess with the thing with the ownership, made it. They kind of decided they wanted to get him out of there. But I don't know what the Nationals are doing. Nationals, need to be a lot more aggressive with these other players that they have instead of him, because it'll be much easier for them to move a Josh Bell than a Juan Soto in season. And this whole and I've heard that his situation has dragged the whole market down. You know, so you can't like have a situation where one player drags the whole market down. I also would mention too, we have this thing with the extra wild card that's dragging the market down as well. So that's why it's been very quiet, other than this big move today. Uh, let's look at another couple of things here. Boy, oh boy, they're really like, I don't know what the hell the Brewers are doing. Instead of just making this trade, the fans in Milwaukee must be very upset by this trade, because David Stearns, the president of the Brewers, came out with a statement. The players we are receiving in this trade help ensure that the future of the Brewers remains bright while not compromising our desired expectations to win today. This mix of present major league talent and high level prospects furthers our aim to get in as many bites of the apple as possible and ultimately to bring a World Series to Milwaukee. Trading good players on good teams is difficult, and that certainly is the case with Josh. We also recognize that to give our organization the best chance for sustained competitiveness, to avoid the extended down periods that so many organizations experience, we must make decisions that are not easy. Wow. They must be really pissed off in Milwaukee for him to put this out and the Brewers to put this out. That is tough. That's a tough trade. At least on the surface. And Rogers is not as good as Hader. Like I said, Hader's will probably blow a save in the postseason, but there is no doubt that Taylor Rogers is going to blow a save. I'm guaranteeing. If the Mets face the Brewers, I am not worried as nearly as much going up against Taylor Rogers as I would if it was Hader. Hader's a shutdown guy. I don't think that's a great trade for the Brewers at all. I think it's a bad trade, quite frankly. Short term, you know. Rogers is the kind of guy he's going to bounce around the rest of his career, and he's already bounced around. This is the third team that he's pitched on this year. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason of why he's bounced, like the three teams in the last few months. An irresistible chicken sandwich. It looks real bad on the Brewers' part. I love that name. An irresistible chicken sandwich? How do you get a name like that? How do you get a name like that? That's awesome. They put this up. I love that name. It had some great names. Like, you sure about that? And it's a sandwich. Look at that. That's a chicken. I mean, look at that. Now that's cool. I like that. That's a cool picture, and it's a cool name. It's very creative. I'll give you that. Now, please like this video if you haven't already, and and of course subscribe. Yeah, got to be creative. That's terrific. I've seen some real winners in terms of names. That's a pretty good one. I mean, winners by bad ones. This is actually a good one. That's certainly a good one. Very, very good. Very creative. Oh boy, I'll tell you, WFAN. I'm gonna have to smack them around at some point. I'm gonna have to smack them around. This is from Boomer, the Boomer and Gio show. Boomer is off, I guess, on vacation. What a great time to go on vacation, Boomer, during the trading deadline. And I would mention this about Chris Russo. Why is he on vacation this week when he's working for the MLB network? And we got to watch Alana, whatever, Rizzo, who has no idea what the hell's going on. They always so hot and cold from minute to minute with some of the Mets and what the Mets do. This is from Geo. Um, if you're not aware of what goes on here, uh, it's from Geo. They've made the minor moves already, and if they make another minor move and that's it for the deadline, I'm gonna be upset. This is from a team that's going to win 100 games. I understand they're great, but I've always been the guy that said, get rid of the prospect if it's the right deal at the deadline. Yeah, okay. The Mets don't want to do another Pete Crow Armstrong deal, meaning trade a prospect for a rental, then have to watch that guy develop for another organization. What I don't like about the theory is that they're thinking about last year's result with their rental, but what they're not thinking of is how that prospect that you can trade now at this time could be for the guy who puts you over the top. You win a World Series. I tell you, I follow these guys on Twitter, and I don't watch the shows, but the comments from day to day is so ridiculously inconsistent on what they've said from the day before. It is unreal. You know, it's unreal how inconsistent the media is in this town when it comes to the New York Mets and how the Mets do stuff. Um, I'm going to have to smack them around at some point. I'm going to have to call them up. I'll do that in the off season. Probably just do that now, to be honest with you. They're not on now, but we'll see. White Mike 2 2023. WFN is hot garbage. That's why I've dug relentlessly on YouTube. I can't stand the okay, I know. It is so bad now. They replaced the schmooze, who, by the way, was getting the look and sound like he was 110 years old, with this kid who has no idea anything about sports. He doesn't know anything. He don't know anything about sports. Nothing. A complete total disaster. And I mean, Brandon Tierney and Tiki, it's okay. I've heard a little bits and pieces. It's okay. But the thing about them is they both sound alike. And other than being black and white, they actually kind of look alike. One bald black guy, one bald white guy. The Schmoozer, AMB, ABS Champs 2022. I hate the morning show, but Evan and Carton they're not bad. He's grown on me, Carton. Because Carton's a bit of a renegade when he talks about the media a little bit. He's a bit of a renegade. And that's why they don't like him much. Media in general do not like him. By the way, I find that some of the things I say about certain things, Carton kind of says some of the similar things that I say. Oh. How you be? That sweater and the schmoozer. Me here, you there. Oh yeah, he hated the Yankees. Big Met fan. And then the Mets announced in the offseason that they were going to bring back Old Timers Day. And this guy that took over for the schmooze, he's like, you know what, Mets, you should do you. It's stupidity, the way he talks. It's such a stupid millennial. You do you, Mets. Talks like that. You don't need to. It's like almost like you don't need to do that's a Yankee thing to do Old Timers Day. The Mets had Old Timers Day for 30 years, and it's been gone for 30 years, by the way. And he's like, why are you doing what the Yankees do? All teams had Old Timers Days. It's just that it's sort of become out of vogue over the last 30 years. Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, I quoted his tweet a couple of weeks ago. He said something that made no sense. It made no sense what he said. I mean, the morning show's better. I mean, they got rid of Moose and Horseface. I mean, Mark Malusis and Maggie Gray. That was a disaster. They got rid of them, which was good. And and obviously they put Carton in the afternoon with Roberts to uh, to replace Francesa. You know, a dog. I think they did that on purpose. I think the guys that ran those phone calls, because you'd have to call into the show and they talk to the producer. I think the producer would send these cranks in there. So I know there's not so many cranks on WFAN anymore. I wonder if they did that on purpose with Mike to sort of mess with him. You know, like the one time the caller called Mike and said to him, "Hey Mike," and they told him about Mickey Mantle winning the Triple Crown. The guy says, "I didn't know he could run like a horse" or something like that. D74. We have finally started to build up our farm system. Keep building it up. That's how the A6 Mets turn things around. Doc Straw, etc. Then trade for Keith and getting Gary put us over the top. That's a long time ago. Um, that's a very long time ago. Most teams do that, but this team's in a different situation. They actually have a lot of talent on this team, and they brought in a lot of talent as well. So it's not a situation where the Mets are in the abyss. You know, yeah. I'm going to read this from Andy Martino. This is about this statement from David Stearns. I don't want this guy here running the Mets. And Andy's, you don't agree with Andy, but after reading the statement from David Stearns, Andy said this: if he ever comes to New York, explain a move on team Twitter account won't play. Agreed. This is a bad move. This is a small time guy doing it in a small town. He should have went out in front of the media. If you can't do something in front of the media, and you're in a small town like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I don't want this guy anywhere near New York. The Mets should stay as far away from him as possible. It's too bad that Billy Bean doesn't want to be here, because that's the guy I'd want to have here anyway. But Billy's not going to come here. I have my own sources, be honest with you, out in California. Um, Billy Bean will never be part of the Mets organization, at least not right now. Billy, I should tell you, has young girls. He has two young daughters, two young twin daughters, and they're just starting school. And he's, I guess, since the movie and since the book, he's gotten married, remarried, and stuff. So he's got two young daughters that just starting out school, and the family does not want to move east. So he's staying out in California. The wife loves California, so then they're not moving to the east. So that, to me, that's the guy you want to have running this team. Or you don't want just reading this thing from David Stearns. I don't want him here. I would stay as far away from him as possible. Now, that would be a bad move on the part of the Mets to bring that guy in to be the guy that runs this organization. Dookie says Billy Bean said it himself. He's not going east. Yeah, he's not coming here, and because of family. But he would be great here. I wouldn't have a problem with him here. You know, but he's not coming here. My source told me that the family wasn't coming here. You know, so let me just look at a couple things here. All right. So from Anthony DeComo. Don Smith is technically scheduled to begin a minor league rehab assignment later this week. His situation is obviously complicated since the Mets have acquired fellow lefty hitters Daniel Vogelback and Tyler Naquan since he's been sidelined. Right on. Don Smith's time with the Mets is done. It's kaput. Either one of two things is going to happen with Dom. He's going to get traded before the deadline, or he's going to be in the minor leagues the rest of the season. Uh, he's going to be gone. He's not going to be on this roster. That's damn sure. Dom is finished here with the Mets. Let's see. Yeah, so we're now a little under 26 hours from the trading deadline. That's interesting about Dom. Yeah, uh, but Dom's not going to be here much longer. Like I said, an ankle injury, sprained ankle is a 2-week injury if it's not that bad. I had an injury when I was a kid, and I was hurt for 2 weeks. And Don has missed 2 weeks, so he should be ready to. He should do a rehab today. White Mike 2023. Boston needs Dom. Perfect fit, low cost, potential breakout. Nobody needs Dominic Smith. But a lot of teams think that he's the kind of guy that needs to get out of New York and play every day. I'm not one of them. I don't think he's any good. Maybe I'll turn out to be wrong, but I don't think that I'm going to be. Hello, Radar Room. WFN is annoying now. Not what it used to be. Nope. From the beginning to the end. From the beginning to the end, it sucks. It used to be great all day long. The only person that really annoyed the hell out of me was Joe Beningo back in the day. Beningo was the guy that annoyed the hell out of me the most, quite frankly. More than anybody else. Because he's such a, I mean, he's one of these old Met fans that come and write to me. That act crazy, that have been fans since the beginning and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. That's that's who I deal with sometimes. Those are really the cranks that I deal with on here. I don't deal with too many of them here, but he's the one crank I deal with on a regular basis. By the way. Now, please like this video if you haven't already and subscribe. Just checking something out. White Mike 2023. Beningo shared my Met jet pain. Hopefully it's over. The pain or... See, that's so lame. It's so contrived that my pain, that line that he always had. I never thought that Beningo was very talented as a broadcaster. I don't think that was... He never said anything really that was interesting to me. I think that was kind of his shtick, that he was like the everyman and stuff, but I didn't think that anything he said was all that interesting, to be honest with you. I didn't think that he was interesting to listen to, interesting to talk about. He just annoyed me in a lot of ways, quite frankly. I know this is what people want to hear me talking about Joe Beningo, but that's how I feel. That's how I felt. That's how I feel. Now, please like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. I'll be back later, believe it or not. Be back later tonight after the Met game. Just sort of hanging out with you folks until I don't know when. Bro. Yeah, it was all phony, all fake. All that stuff with Beningo was fake. All of it. Oh, yeah. Mad Dog. Yeah, absolutely. Mad Dog's the best. And I met him years ago. What a nice guy. Nice guy. I don't miss Beningo, but I always miss Mad Dog. That's why I was annoyed that he wasn't on today. By the way, I was hoping he was on. He's not on today. So, Here's some Buster only. I'm sure people that follow the Blue Jays are going to like to hear this. Blue Jays figured to be one of the more active teams in the next 25 hours and 43 minutes. They continue to pursue starting pitching and bullpen help. Yeah, we'll see. White Mike. That was Benigno. If you met him, he went from being a janitor to WFN. Wow. The thing about him is he was a cab driver, wasn't he? That's what he was. Was a cab driver. That's what he was. He was a cab driver. And then he became, and he, I think he was doing like, he won a contest. And that's who they picked. But it was different then. He won in a totally different situation back then. They would never do that kind of contest today because it would be rigged. They would rig it. They would rig it. That's what they do. They would rig it. It wouldn't be an honest contest like it was back then. They would rig the whole thing. Definitely would. It would definitely be rigged. Let's see. And in the live stream early, there's nothing going on right now. Oh, really? White Mike says 2023. That's who I want. Street New York is not Jersey, not Long Island, on the Mets radio network. Well, that's a Benigno is. He's from New Jersey, right? Yeah, he's a jerk. Jersey jerk. Hello, S.O. Rock. How you doing, S.O. Rock? How you be? What do you say? Me here, you there. The schmoozer. The fake schmoozer, Hot Summers. Talk about the Metropolitans. Oh, who they gonna bring in for this before the trading deadline? They read you my ad libs, but you always had written ad libs. That doesn't. I never understood that. S.O. Rock, we getting chafing this deadline or what? Maybe you are getting a little chafing. Okay, if you have that kind of condition, this is not the channel that you want to be on to get that fixed. Okay. Oh, you mean Andrew Chafin? I thought maybe you're getting like Chafin and whatever. No, I think that they'll be getting somebody. Hopefully, Andrew Chafin. Well, not that chafing in your legs. You don't want that. It's painful. But if you do that, just take a nice warm shower, put a little powder down there. That'll clear that up pretty easily. What the hell am I talking about? Yes, hopefully they get him. Hopefully. They should have signed him in the offseason. They should have signed him in the offseason. I don't know why they didn't do that. That would have made the most sense in the world. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that there's probably a good chance that they're gonna make moves. They need a lefty in this bullpen. They need a righty in this bullpen. They obviously need. They could use another bat in this lineup. These moves that we're looking at are not earth-shattering moves. They don't need to bring in a Juan Soto. They don't. He's not coming here anyway. They don't need to make that kind of a move. They don't need to make a move for a Shohei Ohtani. He's not coming here either. Those moves that Mets don't need to make. Those are moves for the offseason, quite frankly. How much better is that going to make you? You don't need to do those kind of moves. Well, Esso Rock, if you've been shaving since the third grade, you need to see a doctor. Your mother should have taken you to the doctor in the third grade if you had that issue. All right. You really, if you've had that problem, it's probably a long-term problem. It's probably a long-term. I'm sorry to hear that. Then your mother didn't do a good job. She didn't take care of you down there. You know, she's taking you down to the doctor. Now if you're getting older and you're having that problem, you may need to go to the clinic. I'm not sure, but yeah, the Mets are going to do something, but they don't need to make a big move. Uh, just looking at moves from the past. In 99, 2000, they brought in guys like Sean Dunston, Darryl Hamilton. Those are the kind of moves the Mets need to make. These little pieces here and there that they need to bring in. What they did in '86 when they brought in Lee Mazzilli late in the year. Those are the kinds of moves the Mets have to make to help them win a World Series. You're not talking about that they made their big moves for the most part, and then that big move is coming tomorrow, which he was on the roster, and that's Jacob DeGrom. Jacob DeGrom is coming in tomorrow, so to have those guys in here, have him in here tomorrow, that's really the biggest move the Mets could make before the trading deadline. They don't need to do anything else, to be honest with you. Because even if they don't get a DH, for instance, they could bring in Vientos and have him be the right-handed DH on this team. Use him as a bat, and nobody knows who he is. By the time that the league figures it out, the season will be over. D74 says Kelly Johnson and Uribe. Exactly. It's kind of similar to what they did. They weren't hitting. They brought those guys in. And then the day before that, they brought in Conforto. There's a young guy. And then a week later, they brought in Cespedes. That was the big move. This team doesn't need to bring in a move like Cespedes. From how I look at this team. Right. SO Rock, 2015 Clipper and Addison Reed. Addison Reed actually turned out to be better than in 2016 and 2017 than he was in 2015. But they don't need to make a big move, okay? Because they have big players on this team. This team's a little bit is different than the 2015 team. That 2015 team wasn't expected to go to the World Series. But some of these little moves helped them to get there. But it was the pitching staff that carried the team. They just needed a little offense to get them there. Daniel Murphy went crazy in the last month and a half, hit home runs like crazy, and having a big postseason. Getting David back was a big deal. Oh, really? The Astros got Mancini? Really? They post this on here. Really? Oh, Frankie Montas went to the Yankees. Wow. The Mariners claimed Travis Jankowski from the Mets. Wow. I haven't seen anything from Mancini yet. So the Yankees brought in Montas and they brought in Trevino. Wow. Oh, really? The Astros got Mancini. Wow. That's a pretty good move. The Astros doing that. Frankie Montas and Lou Trevino are going to the A's. Now, Frankie Montas is not considered as good as Louise Castillo, by the way. Randy Williams. See what I mean? I don't know what you're talking about, Randy. Other teams make moves and he has a meltdown. All right. Okay, I got it. Dan Connolly. I don't know who is involved on Houston Astros end, but Orioles will be getting multiple players in exchange for Trey Mancini. Okay. Let me see if I had them on here for my list. I don't know if I read that. I did have Houston as Mancini. Okay. I'm fine with that. We'll have to see what they traded for him. Because obviously the Mets were, and I had a big video on him last Monday, that the Mets were close to getting him. I would not. Bella's is the best bat available, other than Martinez. According to Andy Martino, the Yankees did not give up Andy Volpe for Montas. That was the ask for Castillo. Players who are involved are being informed. MLB trade rumors. Astros to acquire Trey Mancini. Wow, interesting. Yeah, I mean Josh Bell's still out there. Josh Bell's still out there. So in the meanwhile, please subscribe. I'm glad I stuck around. This is why you stick around during these things. You can't just sort of leave. Jeff Pazan, the New York Yankees are acquiring right-hander Frankie Montas and right-handed reliever Lou Trevino. Trevino's been terrible. From the Oakland A's, sources tell ESPN. First was Andrew Benintendi, then was Scott Efros, and now the Yankees get Montas to join their rotation. They might be pretty much done, the Yankees. D74, hope Apple doesn't panic and get Martinez. Now, why? They're in the American League. The Mets don't have to worry about these teams. That you don't do teams that moves based on panic, although I think the Yankees panicked when they played the Mets that night. So, all likelihood, Mancini has gone to the Astros. Okay. Should I write it in red? I probably should. So he's gone. He's now with the Astros. Okay. So that eliminates them from the DH positions. That would eliminate them from Martinez, from Bell, probably Brandon Drury. I wonder if that would eliminate them from Contreras. Just looking at a couple DH. So really, this eliminates them from Martinez and Bell. The other team that was in on Bell was Milwaukee. I'll underline the Mets and Seattle at this point when it comes to a DH and the Guardians. Because I heard the Guardians in the last couple of days. Randy Williams. Randy, take a chill pill. Okay? He sucks. He hasn't done anything. Goodbye. You're going to get a timeout. We don't want negativity here for a team that's 27 games above 500. Benny, when do you think the Mets will make some moves? Tomorrow? Yeah, probably. This deal with Mancini is probably going to move some pieces around a little bit. Maybe this will move the Mets closer to getting a Josh Bell or Martinez. I didn't think that Mancini was going to go to Houston. I was kind of thinking that he was probably going to come to the Mets. That the Mets would either get Mancini or Martinez. So I got an alert from Ballcap Sports. He's doing a video on Mancini getting traded. Yeah, and Travis Jankowski's is going to the Mariners. That's all right. He couldn't hit. He did a lot of little things well, but the one thing he couldn't do was hit. From Andy from Martino, the Yanks are also getting Montas without trading Oswald Peraza per source. I don't think the Yankees are going to be doing much more now. They made this big move. Just going to put this in the chat. I'll put this up on the thing. I know we're not Yankees fans, but it's still the baseball hut. And forget, this is still the baseball hut. It's not the Mets hut. People get that confused sometimes. I think I can't talk about Major League Baseball. Then please like this video, of course, and subscribe. Am I the only guy on right now? I think I am. So we have another big trade. This is Frankie Montas going to the Yankees for who knows what the pieces, and Lou Trevino going to the Yankees from the A's. Yeah, Bob Nightingale's confirming the trade. They didn't say what they're giving up. It doesn't matter. That's not my problem with the Mets. Joel Sherman, the Astros have acquired Trey Mancini. Well, you know what it is. I mean, Castillo is better than Montas. I mean, Chase. You know, to be honest with you, Montas is better, and Trevino is terrible. Has been terrible. Uh, the deal for Benintendi, they gave up nothing for Benintendi. They gave up nothing, and I'm gonna assume now. Here's the thing about the A's: the A's don't get fleeced, so there's probably a good chance that the A's in this situation got some talent back because they don't get fleeced in any deal, especially for a young player. So they're not going to get fleeced. The guys that they picked up from the Yankees are probably going to make it. The guys the Royals pick up, they're not going to make it. You might see them as a somebody, some pieces in their bullpen down the line. No stars amongst that group of three pitchers. If they are, I'd be shocked. The Yankees give up nothing. The A's won't get would not get in any way snookered. Would not get outfoxed. See what else is here. All right. The A's return for Frankie Montas as left-hander Ken Wadachuk and J.P. Sears, right-handed pitcher Luis Medina, and second baseman Cooper Bowman. That's a big package. Now I've heard of Sears. He's a pretty good prospect. And Wadachuk. So actually the A's made out pretty good. No, it's not Jabba the Hutt. It's the baseball Hutt. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. It's not the Mets Hutt. It's the baseball Hutt. See, if you name your channel with a team, you kind of like have a you can't like you kind of put yourself in a box. I would never call this channel the Mets Hutt. So that this was I would never do that. So other channels want to associate themselves with the Mets. It's a difficult thing. You just check more stuff. Yeah, so Ken Wadachuk is the number 5 New York Yankee prospect with MLB pipeline. So he's up there, this guy. This guy is pretty good prospect that the A's got. I didn't think the A's would get fleeced or get outfoxed by any team when it comes to a prospect. Right, that's the thing. It's a small thing, the name of a channel. Sometimes the channel doesn't matter. A lot of times it has a lot to do with the content. So I'm not going to name this channel after a team, even though I got all this. So this channel was not originally supposed to be a Mets channel. Originally, this channel was supposed to be like a general Mets channel, general baseball channel. But when I was first months or so, the channel was very general, it was little old school kind of players. But then I kind of decided, after watching these Mets channels popping up, that I should do that and get the channel monetized, and I did very quickly. So if you notice, if you've been following the last couple of days, I've been sort of changing the content a little bit, be more general. That'll happen at some point, do less Mets stuff. Right now, the Mets are hot as a thing on Google, and it'll probably be hot in October. And if the Mets win, they'll be really hot in the off season, but they're not going to be hot online forever. So you kind of have to sort of realize that. Interesting. Big trades today, I got to say. Mancini's gone. Mancini's gone. Hader's gone, he wasn't on my list, by the way. And Frankie Montas is gone. Balls Cap Sports, his channel is doing great. He got a lot of subs. Um, Robbie Hyde's got a lot of subs. They do general stuff. I try not to. My attitude is pretty much not to do all the teams if I can because it's just a lot of work. Just doing my own team is a lot of work. Um, yeah, I mean, they said last night that once they, they lost down on Castillo, once Castillo went to the Mariners, that they were gonna shift focus to Montas. Montas isn't as good as Castillo, but he's a number three starter. He'll be the number three starter on the Yankees. I've not seen him, just like I haven't seen Bassett until this year. He's probably a little less than Bassett. You know, he's a solid starter. He's not gonna hurt them. You know, he's not gonna hurt them long term. That's for sure. Um, all right. Bye bye, Randy. I'd like people to get along and not be negative on the channel. Sorry. I don't like comments like that. What more can this guy do in his first year as the general manager? Again, I've said this before to people who come in and complain. If you don't like the general manager of the team, don't come here and complain. Go and email the Mets or call the Mets and complain. Talk to Steve Cohen. Talk to Sandy Alderson. Okay. Epler's obviously doing something right because this team is 27 games over 500. They're doing something right. He hired the manager. So he has done something right with this team. So goodbye. I'm sorry I had to do that. I don't like doing that. I had to do that a couple times today. Damien, who do the Mets need? They need some relief pitching, and they could use another bat. Yeah, yeah. It's Max Scherzer. Mm-hmm. This is a joke from Bob Nightingale. From Bob Nightingale. The Yankees' deep and talented farm system has allowed GM Brian Cashman to trade 33 minor leaguers since the start of 2021. World Series a bust. Yeah, they did not get to the World Series in 2021, and their farm system is crap. If the Yankees don't trade anybody, that means they're good. But if the Yankees trade people, they're not any good. From Mark Feinstein, Montez brought back two of New York's top 10 prospects, plus number 20 and 21. Louise Castillo landed the Reds three of the Marlins' top 5 prospects. One of Montez's return might have been more if not for the shoulder issue he had last month. Vila was there in last start, though. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Epler's done a good job. I mean, what more do you want? The season's not over. Sheesh. This is an account I follow. This is the kind of talent the Yankees have moved. And this is called MLB Executive Burner on Twitter. Combination of missing on Joey Gallo and Hal Steinbrenner, not allowing Cashman to aggressively shop in free agency, cost the Yankees Ken Chuck, Hayden Wesneski, Beck Wade, Luis Medina, TJ Sakima, Chandler Chaplain, JP Sears is could be a star, and Cooper Bowman. Yeah, this A's trade could kill the Yankees long term. From John Heyman, Dodgers remaining on Juan Soto have big prospect stockpile. Miller, Vargas, Cartaya, Bush, Pepite. Recent history of big deal, deadline deals, and rapport with Nats. Padres and Cards have been considered favorites, but no reason to count out the Dodgers. Well, we'll see. Oh, the Mariners signed Jonathan Villar. He's an average player, mediocre player. He does a lot of things well, but I don't know. We'll see. Well, now that Mancini has been traded, it's going to be interesting to see where the Mets go now from here on out. That's going to shift now that a team is out of the DH market. It'll be interesting to see where Martinez and Bell go. So with those teams, Milwaukee seems to be the next move. But considering the move that the Brewers made and this statement by the president, I wonder if they are finished. I would not be surprised if the Brewers were finished for today and for tomorrow. Holly Green, are the Mets getting anyone? Yes. Maybe yes today, maybe no today, but definitely by tomorrow. Dookie Howser, what did Mancini cost the Astros? Who knows? We'll have to find out. Whatever that cost is probably about a little bit more is what the Mets would have to give up for these other guys. Now that Houston's added the DH market, it'll be interesting, like I said, if the Mets could get Josh Bell. And since and since um and since lost my train of thought. Villar signed with the Mariners, it makes me wonder if they're added the DH market too. Because obviously the Mariners need offensive help, especially with Rodriguez being hurt. James Duongo, is James Bell in play for the Mets? Who knows? There might be um they might have to go back to the Mets. Joel Sherman, Yankees are not done. Have to send Joey Gallo to the Phantom Zone somewhere. He didn't say that. I said that. Not with key items obtained. Now, if key items obtained, we'll continue to try to shop for upgrades. D74, shocked that Nats trade Bell and division about wanting to at least a top 5 prospect. Well, yeah, I probably agree with you there. I agree with you there. But you never know. You never know. We have to see what Mancini gets. Have to see what the Orioles get from Mancini. He's going to hit. I mean, really, as a rock, he's really going to hit for a lot more power now. He's going to feel a lot more better down there. But we'll see. Just looking at it, just on the surface with the A's don't get anybody that's bad. So I would not be surprised if the A's probably picked up some really good prospects from the Yankees. And the Yankees have not done it. I mean, really, to be honest, the Yankees have not done a good job the last few years. They can't get over the hump. And I don't think these moves get them over the hump. To be honest with you. Don't know. Now, if you will, I'm going to take a bit of a bathroom break because I got to stand up. So I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Okay. So I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Just going to stretch All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to use the bathroom for a minute and see what else is going on in the world. But so I'm back. Yeah, so we got the trade, the Yankees trade. Uh, this is not a big money deal for the Yankees. Uh, just looking at the Yankees pitching staff. Now, please, of course, like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Chuck is the number 70th best prospect in Major League Baseball for the Yankees. So the A's actually made out. The A's actually made out. No, I didn't get traded. Although some people would want to trade me for another YouTuber. That's for sure. Not going anywhere at the moment. That's for sure. Nothing going on with this channel. Let me just go through a couple of things here. Yeah, so the A's got quite a bit of talent back from the Yankees. Well, the Mets have been very active. They've made 3 trades so far. Who do you want the Mets to get? I'd say Josh Bell. Yeah, I'd rather have Bell, like I said earlier, than Martinez. He's not washed up, but he's on the other side of the mountain. And Robertson. I could probably deal with the catching situation if I feel like I have Alvarez in September. But think about Alvarez is not on the 40-man roster, by the way. Just keep that in mind. Yeah, this was a big move for the Yankees. It's not Louise Castillo. It's not Louise Castillo, but it's pretty good. I think you have a lot of talent for this guy. Oh, yeah, and Andrew Chafin. Forgot about him. The one Matt. Well, he was a good player for them. As an Oriole fan, this hurts more than Machado. Really? Really? That's a bit of an exaggeration. Machado's a good player. Comes across as lazy, but he's a good player. This guy Clayton waited for 5 minutes to sub just so he could scream like a lunatic 50 times. Crazy. Don't subscribe if you're going to act crazy. I think he did. I think Clayton is right. I'm not sure. I think so. I think that Clayton. I think the Astros traded and brought in Mancini. Yeah, I mean the pitcher the A's got, they weren't going to get fleeced. They weren't going to get outfoxed by the Yankees. That's for sure. They may outfleece the Royals. They're not going to outfleece them. That's for damn sure when it comes to these prospects. By the way, that was not going to happen. Now, of course, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. Yeah, Soto's taking batting practice right now. He's in the lineup for tonight. So I'm going to assume he has not, obviously not been traded. I don't think he's getting traded. Soto's not getting traded. I don't think. If he is, I'd be shocked. We'll see. Tom says, as long as the Dodgers or Padres don't get Soto, I'm fine. Well, we'll see. I mean, they say Montas is not as good as Castillo, so the value is probably about right. They weren't going to get Volpe or any of those big prospects for Montas. Tom, you a Met fan, Braves fan? What fan are you? Let's see, anything new here? Uh, yeah, so the Yankees upgrade everything they need to upgrade. Now they need to get rid of Joey Gallo. Interesting to see where he goes. Does it really matter for us? I think it matters to us where he goes. That's for sure. Matthew, calm down. Matthew, you need to calm down. That's that you can't do those moves. That should not be considered fair if they don't make those moves. I mean, if you think that the Mets have had a failure, they don't pick up those two, then you're not thinking reasonably. you know, I mean that's a totally different situation. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try something. I know you're joking. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna change the title of the video's name just for this. Just want to see something, if you don't mind. So if you're a Met fan, don't be offended if I do this. Okay? I want to try something because I can edit the names of these videos. So please don't leave the channel. As I change the name, that's a little Yankee centric. I want to try something, if you don't mind, since we're on here together, sharing the last 3 hours together. I want to see more people come in here, if you don't mind. So, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut and like this video. Just trying a little experiment. Since I'm here, take that down. Thor, does money not matter here? No, as a Met fan, we don't care about money anymore. We don't worry about money. That's for sure. As Mets fans, we don't care about the money. Because we got the richest owner in baseball. And there's no more super teams. Come on. It's all about the pitching anyway. Just hoping a team with an already World Series chance can't get Soto to form a super team. There's no more super teams anymore. I think there are a few teams right on the border to becoming a super team. Nah. You know, like a dynasty? What do you call them super teams? We call them dynasties in baseball. There's no dynasties in baseball anymore, really. The O for Gallo stands O for nothing. O for 4. 4 strikeouts. Lennon says this. That's not a bad idea. I think the Mets should really focus on Brandon Drury. He's a free agent after the season, So he can't cost so much of a farm system. Plus, he plays multiple positions, so his value is high. I have no problem with that, Lennon. That is not the worst idea in the world. I have no problem with that. You DH him. You know. Let's see. Get some more tweets here. The Rays is from Ken Rosenthal. It's from Ken Rosenthal. Rays acquiring Jose Siri from Astros as part of the 3-team deal, sending Trey Mancini from the Orioles. It's a 3-team trade. Wow, this is a big trade. This is audio. This is from SNY. The Mets. This is from Andy Martino. Let me play an audio if I can. See if this works. See if I can hear this.
They acquire Frankie Montas and Lou Trevino, the reliever from Oakland. They did it without parting with either of their shortstop prospects who they like, Anthony Volpe or Oswald Peraza. Ken Waldichuk, the lefty prospect, the pitcher who they did part with, that hurts a little bit. He's a good prospect, but the Yankees needed a top-of-the-rotation arm for the postseason. They liked Louise Castillo, but it would have cost them Volpe, and they just weren't going to do that. So now they've got Montas, who really isn't much of a drop-off from Castillo when he's healthy. Without having to give up either of those shortstops, that's a big day for Brian Cashman. They also got a good reliever, Scott Efris, with 5 years of control from the Cubs earlier in the day. The Mets are still working to add to their bullpen. They're interested in a DH bat or a bench bat, adding to that offense. But the fact that Trey Mancini just went to the Astros is yet another piece of evidence that the Mets are just not going to trade big prospects, or even maybe what they consider one of their top 5 prospects, for a DH. They feel pretty good about where their offense is at. They don't want to give up top prospects. They're trying to build up that farm system. And the price of a lefty reliever like Andrew Chafin, who they like and are working on, would be less than for some of these rental bats. So keep your eye on the Mets, and the Yankees now have had a terrific deadline.
All right. So the Mets are working on Andrew Chafin. And that's interesting. And it seems like they might be on the outs looking at a DH. But we'll see. Keep an eye on Josh Bell and Martinez. Or, I don't know, like I said, like the chat said, Trey Mancini. I mean, not Trey Mancini, Brandon Drury. But we'll see. We will see. All right, that didn't work. So please like this video as I keep changing the name of the video, which is fine. That might not be a big Mets trade. If there isn't, don't get all worked up about it. Believe me. Mets don't need to make big moves. They need moves to win in October. And that's how I look at it. And that's how you should all look at it, too. All right. See what else is going on here. Yeah, that audio was just for me, folks. It's more for me than for you. This is a 3-team trade with the Mancini. All right. Here's the trade for Mancini. A Rays trading right-handed pitcher Seth Johnson to the Orioles, right-handed pitcher Jaden Murray to Astros, and Mancini Siri deal, sources to that says. Orioles also believe to be getting another player from Houston. Johnson is about to undergo Tommy John surgery. Yeah, Andy's he's shaky sometimes. He's very shaky. He's the bringer of bad news a lot of times, by the way. He's very shaky sometimes and always brings bad news along with him. Well, you might not be able to get Wilmer for a bag of balls. Wilmer's still a good player. Remember he was going in that trade for Carlos Gomez when Gomez was still good. So people look at him as very talented. He's got a very good bat. Wilmer's good late in the game. You want to have Wilmer late. That's why I was uptight when he struck out against Scherzer last year, because he was going to get a big hit in that ninth inning. He's still a good player. He's still a good hitter. Don't doubt Wilmer. Okay. Now, please like this video and subscribe. I'm going to go to a little bit longer, not too much longer now. Like I said, I'll be back later. Yeah, so Juan Soto is playing right now. Yeah, so he's playing right now. And he's talking to a lot of the Mets. There's a picture of him online. So he's from Thor. Do you like Vogelback? He's a bench guy, And it seems like his teammates love him. They're all laughing when he talks to them on the bench. They say he's the funniest player in the game. I have no problem with him. He's gotten off to a very fast start here, which is good. Because I know, like, when I did the video about him and the talk about when they brought him in a week and a half ago, people were not happy. And after seeing him play one game, people love the guy. People love the guy after one game. It's difficult to have a guy come in here and you haven't seen him play and you go after him, and then after one game, oh, he's great. It's stupid. Comes across as really dumb. The Mets are, just look at it, 3.5 games behind the Dodgers for the best record. Now, the Mets and Yankees were in the same division. The Mets would be 3 games back of them. And the Mets beat them 2 out of, they swept them the other day. Just to let people know. Interesting. Exactly. That's the one thing I will say. That's why they need right hand. They could bat him right handed. They could put Vogel. I don't know. I just threw that out there. Wasn't really thinking. Isn't this Martinez? Isn't that Martinez? See, the thing I worry about with the bullpen is they don't have a lefty in the bullpen. All right, and they need another righty that can come in late in the game. Those are my 2 concerns. That especially a high end like right hander that can get the lefties out and it's not afraid. If he has to close the game out late. But we'll see. Got less than 25 hours. Got 24 hours and 50 minutes to go. And I'll be back again in the morning. I'll be back on early in the morning. Gonna try to go all day tomorrow. We'll see. See how I handle that. I'm not going out tomorrow. I have no plans for tomorrow. So I will be here as my computer has frozen. Yeah, so I'll be back again tomorrow all day. B. Chad is playing the odds. Who do you think the Mets have a 75% chance of getting? Usually nobody ever asks me the percentage-wise. If they're not going to give up a prospect, they're not going to give up brilliant. They're not going to get anybody. Maybe a guy like Brandon Drury, but I haven't heard them with him. I haven't heard any things about him. They might go internally. Mark Vientos. How about that? Maybe Mark Vientos. I see the needs that the Mets need. They need bullpen help, and they could use another bat, either behind the plate or as a DH. I know the Mets needs. I don't, but they're not big needs. Mets have gotten this far without that stuff, Mets have gone this far without that. Big Pomp 1 is in a time warp. Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer's not in jail. I think he's in jail. I will say this. I didn't hear anything about Naquan with the Mets. That was a surprise. I was surprised when that trade came down. To be honest with you all. Was not expected. But that's not the worst thing in the world. You really have to find a right-handed bat. You got to find a right-handed bat that kills lefties. If you can find a right-handed bat that kills lefties, it's the perfect guy for the Mets. Even if he's not a guy that's going to play every day. A guy that can go in, who's better. You got to know if he's better than Davis. If he's better than Davis, you make that move. And they need some bullpen help. I'm not talking about big moves now. They don't need starting pitching. They don't need a star player in here. They don't have to make a Soto deal, an Ohtani deal. They need to make moves that can bring in some relief pitchers, and obviously a right-handed bat that kills lefties. That's what they need. Yeah, Drury's pretty good, but I don't know if they can get him. Who knows who else? If Davis hit like he should, we wouldn't even be talking about a trade for big bat. I don't think he's that good. People don't want to hear me say it. I don't think he's J.D. Davis is that good. Mr. Hauser. Yeah, the lefty, you're absolutely right. Moves that are like under the radar. Really, you got to make moves that help you win in October. This team's going to October. It doesn't matter winning October. They have to make moves that win October. That's what they need to do. Mr. Hutt, boy, he's getting awfully formal. That's my point, Mr. Hutt. He isn't hitting like he used to. He had the 1 year, That's my point. Well, I'm going to end the live stream because I need to rest my voice. And got to get ready for the game. I don't expect I don't expect a move right now. If there's a move, I'll do a video. And all new subs coming in here, thank you for watching. BChat28, you going to stream during the game? No, because I'm not. I'll be back after the game. That I'm going to do. From Jesse. What are the odds of the Mets trading for JD Martinez? What are the odds? I say 50-50 right now and dropping. Big Pump wants his HUD. Mets should go after Jorge Soler. Nah, he's got a big contract. Thor says, is Drew Smith hurt? Yes. White Mike 2023 says, why would Boston hold on to Martinez? Why? You asked me why? Yes, he said why. Because they still think they're in it. They're not in it. So, I want to thank you all for coming by. I'm going to end the live stream here, and I'll be back after the game. Hopefully, there's no trade right after this. Okay. Been going for 3.5 hours. So, again, I'll be back in the morning. I'll be back later on tonight after the Met game. And I'll be talking about whatever. Whatever. Again, Max Scherzer's going tonight. Jacob DeGrom's going tomorrow. I'll be back in the morning with a live stream and be here pretty much to the trade deadline tomorrow, up until about 6:30. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming by. As I mumble my words, and thank you for coming, and I'll see you later. See you later.